From the entire WTSF TV6 family to yours, we would like to wish you a safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Watch or be punished.
Please, don't hurt me.
My happening and it freaks me out.
Oh, it's stone gas, man.
Hello, hello. We are live. How's everyone doing this evening? Am I coming through loud and clear? How's everyone on this Thursday night or Thursday evening, depending on what part of the country, or potentially it's tomorrow if you live in Australia, I guess. Yeah, close. So, okay, it sounds like, okay, we're coming through loud and clear. I'm your old buddy Pizzal, and joining me tonight, I have got Jamie. How's it going, Jamie?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing very, very well.
Awesome.
There's some love for Jamie in the chat tonight already.
Thanks.
Jillian. Also with me tonight from Jillian's neck of the woods, as a matter of fact. Raiho, what's up, man?
I was just typing to her. Doing well. Just having a brew. Actually, Jillian, if she drinks beer, I'm having a Tatamagush. Nobody else knew what that word was. Everyone's like, what the heck did you just say, Tatamagush?
That sounds Swedish.
Cheers.
Is
we have
it
all kinds of
Swedish?
crazy names in Nova Scotia. The names of the towns and stuff are out of control.
I have relatives in Nova Scotia.
Really?
I do.
Oh, awesome. Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
I'm half Scottish, you know.
Jeez. You'll have to come over to Nova Scotia sometime, have a beer.
Totally would love that, dude.
Awesome.
It's got to be a moose head, though. Come on.
Oh, any kind of beer.
Oh, yeah,
as long as it's not American, I'll take it. I love
There you
Canadian
go.
beer.
You guys are disrespecting your Canadian heritage and pride, not repping Moosehead.
I don't know. So I keep meaning to get a bottle or get a can of Moosehead just for you, Piz. keep fanning on that one.
Very cool. All right. Next with me is Stone Gassman. How's it going, buddy?
Live from New York, it is Stone Gas Man. How is everybody tonight?
Doing pretty good, you?
I'm doing awesome. Ready to have a good show tonight. I got some interesting topics we're going to talk about.
We do indeed. And we will get right to those topics right after I introduce Lauren. How's it going, Lauren?
I am just counting down the milliseconds to the next great shutdown of our society where we all can just live like I live anyway. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Good.
Doing good.
Surviving.
I just want to note that I see you, DJ. I see you and I see what you're doing. So just stop.
That's your only warning, DJ.
That's it.
That's your only warning. But let's see who's with us in the chat so far. I see Jess Graham. I see Jill. I see Joe Bob. I see Big Ideas 3. There's Al. Owen Sartor. Gary North. Media Dude 95. I think it was Josh said that he got a raise recently. Very nice. Congratulations, Josh. There's my buddy Keith, Captain Halloween. How are you? Big Crack Rock. How's it going, Crack Rock? So how's everybody's week been so far?
Ugh.
I'll just take that.
Excuse me.
It was a busy one for me, but a good one. I've had a good week.
Good.
That's good.
Good. Lauren, how's your week been?
I'd love to say productive, but that'd probably be a bald-faced lie.
Okay.
No, it hasn't been a very eventful one around here.
Okay. What about you, Rahel?
I've just been busy, man. Just been really busy. So it's the usual spiel with me.
I get it. Well, let's dive into some topics tonight. The big news that happened yesterday, breaking news, Scream 5 has been officially titled, wait for it, Scream.
Oh.
Do you know the thing is, I didn't scream when they told me. So if it was meant as a command, it didn't work.
It didn't work, yeah. So I just hope they put the same flair for the creative into the rest of the movie as they did into that title. So now we're gonna have to differentiate Scream 96 and Scream 2020. Well, it's 2022 or something like it. Didn't it say it's coming out in 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think January 22.
Yeah, like it was like a year to the day or a year and whatever. Yeah, it's 2022.
And you know the studios, January is that prime real estate where they drop all the blockbusters, right? So
That's
I
where
mean,
movies go to die. We all know.
What are they even thinking? January 2022? It's like they're already saying, yeah, this sucks.
Well, it could be that another major property has already staked out autumn. So
Yeah. Sometimes a good movie, they do launch a few in there because somebody's got to go see something, but most of the time it's the like garbage that
dire.
they've got to kick it on the shelf. They
I
take
thought
it
this
off
was
the shelf.
thought this was a great movie year after we got out of February. But the first 2 months were like so bad.
Has anybody asked anybody that might know why they've chosen this absolutely ridiculous title for this movie? I can't believe that they're doing this.
It's got to be that they're following in Halloween's footsteps. They think that, I don't know, but it doesn't sound like they're trying to retcon anything, or I don't know. How do you call a sequel to a movie the exact same movie? How do you?
That's why I'm wondering if it's even a sequel anymore. what if it's what was it Christian who said it might be like meta, you know, it might be like them
I've thrown that
their
out there.
real characters getting killed. Like
Maybe this one is the first, and the Scream that came out in '96 is the fifth. Did you ever think about that?
I don't know. You're bending my mind now. I don't think they're that clever. I saw on Twitter the other day. I'm trying to think who it was. Was basically they said, "Oh, this movie's not meta though. Like we're not doing that again." And I'm like, "That's Scream. What the hell are you talking about?" They're like going to completely like that's what they said. Like again, this could be BS, but I was like, what are you talking about? That's the whole point.
Wasn't it Kevin Williamson that said, "Yeah, this isn't self-aware at all."
Yeah.
Like, okay, so this is just okay.
Yeah,
you're bringing back all the original cast. You've got to be doing it through some, like you said, some kind of means where it's like, I don't know, we're watching these guys, they made the movies, whatever it is, I don't care. But it's not going to be self-referential or like aware or anything like that. No, not at all. It's impossible.
I hope that just means.
Go ahead.
I hope that just means they're not going to wink at the audience. I think because Kevin Williamson is a master with words, as we can tell from all that wonderful dialogue in the Scream movies. So realistically, I think maybe he's just slightly misspeaking, and it's just maybe the approach, because radio silence are frankly probably they wouldn't have come to this project unless they wanted to do something subversive with it. I think the marketing is going to be abysmal, as you're already saying, right? Because they weren't told what they could title their movie. that did not happen. So
yeah. I don't get it. I don't understand. No, go ahead, Sid. I'm sorry.
I was just going to quote Jill Ann in the chat. They had missed a perfect opportunity. They should have made the S in Scream just make it a 5.
Yes,
that would have been
an
awesome
idea.
No, they can't. I guess they can't anymore.
That's too innovative. You got to keep it simple.
Yeah,
just Scream.
I don't know. This isn't the first time, of course. Halloween wasn't the first time this thing has happened. You know what I mean? We go right back to that one. That one did gangbusters. I've seen the joke. The next one will be Scream Kills, and the next one will be Scream Ends. But I don't know. Just lame.
This is part of why I've been getting I'm so upset with Hollywood and the way that they're doing things. Why do they have to name it Scream when we already have one named Scream, and this is supposed to be a sequel? That doesn't make any sense. It's like constant repeat. Oh my God, people in Hollywood, please make up something new.
Hollywood is convinced that they still need to market exclusively horror films to that 16 to 28 demographic, and they're assuming that these people may not have seen or have any reverence for anything but the title. So yeah, they're taking the easiest, simplest way out.
Yeah, if it was Scream 5, they'd still just call it, I'm going to see the new Scream. I'm going to see Scream. Like they wouldn't, you know what I mean? So they might as well just call it that anyway.
This could be worse. This could be Scream Resurrection or Scream Resurgence. There's a lot of ways this could be worse.
And just to double check, Nev Campbell and David Arquette and Courtney Cox have all agreed to come back. Is that right?
Yep. Also, Marley Shelton too.
Well, apparently, David Arquette posted on Twitter. I think, didn't he say he's done? Like he shot his stuff. He's done.
It's wrapped. The whole
thing's done. Yeah, it's done.
Well, that was another thing. A lot of people were like, "Man, they made this movie too fast," but they made it as fast as the first one. Apparently, it was like a very quick shoot for the original script.
I'm going to call it.
It's all suburban interiors. I mean, there's no reason you couldn't shoot this fast.
Yeah.
Well, they've got a year, over a year to reshoot the hell out of it and edit the hell out of it to make a movie out of it. To Frankenstein it together.
That sounds like they're making a Halloween film.
Well, that's what they want, right?
Yeah,
I'm calling it. Dewey's going to be dead.
I imagine he's going to die in this one too. That's what I think.
Now it's almost like it's almost too obvious now that they're going to kill the original characters, or at least most of them. So now when that happens, you're just going to be like, I saw that coming 2 years ago when they announced
I make a prediction that Courtney Cox will live. That's my prediction.
Okay.
I'll make a prediction that I won't care who lives.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
So this is going to be
whatever.
This is going to be the Force Awakens of the Scream franchise.
Yum.
You know what? Hey, you know what? You're probably right. They just do the same thing over again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't think Radio Shot Silence would have signed on if it was just the same thing. I just don't see them doing that.
I hope not.
That's how did I turn into the positive one about
I
a
know.
Scream
I
movie?
don't know. Maybe they'll like try to shadow make a sequel and kill everybody off in the first one, and then be like, "Guess what? There's another one coming out in 6 months."
My big bet, knowing them as filmmakers, is that the first 10 or 15 minutes of this movie is going to be exactly what you think it's going to be, and then it's going to veer wildly in a different direction and not return from that direction. So your results will vary, but I mean, if you like these guys, if you like films like Ready or Not, that's the hands it's in. And I like Ready or Not more than I like any of the Scream movies. So
I liked Ready or Not. I thought it was pretty good.
yeah.
What studio is making this thing?
Shows how much we give a shit.
Feels like I should know that.
I should know that too, and I don't. That's funny.
But I mean, will the studio allow Radio Silence to make the Scream movie that they want to make?
I have to know now because this is just.
I think already they're like, well, now guys, we're going to call it Scream. So I mean, they're like, you know, they're forcing this dumbass title on them. What else are they going to force on them?
Oh,
Stingray?
Christian says Full Moon.
Christian is wrong.
Yeah, it's Spyglass. Paramount's distributing it.
Okay, Paramount.
Well-
It's okay.
I'm just worried that they're going to resurrect the Scary Movie franchise if Scream actually makes a dime.
That's, you know,
Don't
Keenan
do that.
Ivory Wayans,
No.
wherever you are.
No.
The next Scary Movie, just call it Scary Movie. Bring all the old characters back, Carmen Electra and all those old ones, and just, you know.
You know, it would be amazing if this caught on as a trend throughout Hollywood, and the next Star Wars movie was just called Star Wars.
Star Wars, yeah.
So it returned to how it originally was, and the film that actually should be called Star Wars isn't anymore, but a new one is.
Oh, that would be. Oh, the fanboys would go nuts. It'd be amazing.
I probably would explode on that one.
I really don't want them to make. Are they going to make more Star Wars movies?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're prepping
Oh,
one now.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're bringing the entire Marvel team over to do it. So they understand that something had to change.
Yeah, we can look forward to the new Sith Lord played by Robert Downey Jr. and the new whoever who's supposed to put balance in the Force played by Chris Evans. So
Ironically, that doesn't sound worse than what they've been doing to me at all.
It doesn't.
how's it going, Stingray?
Good guys. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing pretty good.
JJ the Stingray.
Other than I'm about to DDT my computer, I'm doing good.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on Scream 5, Stingray?
No. None whatsoever.
No.
Perfect time for me to miss.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about something positive. I think Lauren's got some positive stuff to talk about here. He went and saw a movie over the weekend that he wants to talk about. He wants to discuss the film. He wants to discuss the production company behind the film. And from what I understand, it's going to be glowing. So go ahead, Lauren.
Who am I again?
Lauren?
Okay. Oh, okay. So a year ago, when my channel was still just freshly out of the package and still smelled like the bubble gum it came wrapped in, I did a review of a film that I also wrapped in a conversation about the studio who was releasing it. And that was called Blumhouse, We Need to Talk. I have no illusions that they watched my content or would ever have responded to it. But if they did, then I'm to blame for them going back in a completely contrarian direction. Because I went to go see Freaky. Freaky is not a film for human consumption. It's a film for media bots to feast on and tear apart and micromanage the distribution and advertising for the film. It's so obviously and transparently not for me as a fan or probably anyone watching us as fans, because it really starkly showcases that there are two different horror fandoms currently running concurrently. One are what I call traditional fans, which are people who grew up with the genre or are growing up with the genre, because this isn't really about age, and love the genre for what it does and how it makes them feel, and that's important because it's about how their emotions are playing with the movies. And then there's the other group, which is typically millennials, but it, again, is not relegated just to an age group. And these are people who are really just looking to see a film that screams as loud as it can to validate opinions they already hold and need to express in everything they speak or they hear or they write or they read or they smell or they excrete. The reality is this isn't a movie as much as it's a bad concept come to life. There's an old Dead Milkman song called The Thing That Only Eats Hippies, which is about creating a monster for the 4-H club that goes around eating dinosaur rockers. This movie is exactly that. This movie is an attack on older fans in a way that we've kidded about quote unquote woke movies doing before. This isn't really woke. This is beyond that, because there, at least a movie has its politics, but it's also doing its own thing, telling its own story. That's one thing. Freaky is just endless barrages of slogans in place of dialogue, and literally just cardboard cutouts of every diverse figure they can pick to make sure that there's inclusion for absolutely every archetype that we celebrate in our society. The movie doesn't even make this it's not even a puzzle game. It's not like you're searching for anything. My issue with this is not so much that I bought a ticket and I hated the movie. It's that should this thing prove to have a long life and it uses its bad box office and its weekend as just an excuse because COVID happened, we're looking at more of these films. And Blumhouse have been the probably worst offender for this kind of non-entertainment, whereas it becomes a form of infotainment without the tainment side. We're just dropping all the keywords that people respond to if they have a certain mindset. And by the way, it doesn't really matter which side of the spectrum this comes from. It would be annoying whether this was, red or blue or left or right or top or bottom. It's just, can we please get movies back that tell stories with compelling characters and dynamics that we can relate to in our lives, rather than characters speaking in a dialect that none of us can even recognize as anything we encounter in our daily lives. So I'm done with Blum. Blum, you've lost your chance. A year ago, I put my foot in the sand saying, this got to get better or I'm out the door. And not only has it not gotten better, it's gotten far, far worse, to the point where the movie was intolerable. It was the worst movie-going experience I've had, and I can't tell you how long. And I've seen some bad films. I'm talking, this is as bad as that midnight screening of Battlefield Earth that I endured. This is this is as bad as anything that I've stepped into and gone out going, what did I waste my money on? This made The Turning look like just, an absent-minded mistake. I'm sure someone out there is going to champion this movie and talk about how, it's not for you, it's for a different audience. But the thing is, I've always been able to get into films from generations with different mindsets. My favorite films are from the 1930s. So to say that I'm looking for someone to speak exactly my language or else I'm going to walk out the door is insane. And I'm not necessarily offended by any of their concepts. I'm offended by them screaming their virtue signaling at the top of their lungs instead of creating an entertaining movie. So no, Blum, we're out of chips. I'm walking away from the table.
Here's something that I think is interesting. The more inclusive I've noticed that a movie wants to be, or a video game or whatever, the more inclusive that it appears to be, or that it preaches that it is, when people say, "Well, I didn't like it," they go, "What was it made for you? Why aren't you including me? Why isn't it? Why aren't I part of the inclusion?" So I love that rebuttal of, "Well, it wasn't made for you, but I thought this was inclusive. I thought you wanted everybody in on this." Well, not you.
It's really frustrating too, because you can create characters from all these different backgrounds with all these different skin colors or religions or whatever you're choosing to, whatever surface level detail that, Martin Luther King Jr. was not talking about when he talked about the content of our characters. But you can pick any of that and put them all on screen, but unless you write real dialogue and create real characters, it's pointless. And that's what they've done here. They've just created non-characters. This is your stand-in. This is, the snappy best friend of color. This is your gay friend. But there's no characters there. They speak in just platitudes towards their movements. It's bad writing, and the tendency to make these sort of films is always going to be rooted in bad writing, because instead of starting with, what do I need to tell the best story, they're starting with a checklist of things they feel they need to include in the movie. Now, a great writer might be able to overcome that, but let's be honest. Do you guys really think that they were out there canvassing for the best writer to write Freaky? Were they looking for the modern John Steinbeck to make sure they just approach the exact right tone on this thing? No.
I heard Mamet did a pass on it.
I bet a hard pass, probably.
Was it at least fun? Was it at least entertaining in any way? You didn't have any fun with it at all?
Do you have fun with Geico commercials?
Well, if
you like Geico commercials, you'll love it, because it's about as deep as a Geico commercial.
Oh. I probably won't like it.
There's gore in it. If you want gore, it's there. I mean, but that's not enough by itself for me. It just isn't.
I mean, Blumhouse is really, they went from and we've talked about this before, but I mean, they went from oh man, they're the savior of horror. In a really short period of time, they've gone from the savior of the genre to everything's just trash.
Yeah. And this one is actually insulting. So, and not mildly insulting either.
Well, I'm going to bring up a Blumhouse movie later that I actually liked this year. So,
I hate that argument of it's not made for you, because there's tons of things that aren't made for me that I love.
Yeah.
Like I loved Thoroughbreds. I loved Booksmart. Lady Bird. These are great films. About teenage girls, and I thought they were great movies. So I really hate that argument.
That seems like something I never heard people say that years ago. It wasn't made for you, or this movie's not made for me. I didn't hear that years ago, because I mean, it seems like that's a whole new thing now.
James Whale made a film in 1935 that became my favorite film of all time. By definition, because I was not born until half a century later, he didn't make that movie for me.
Yeah. Well, and let me tell you, nobody is making movies for anybody. They're making movies for money.
For the marketing team.
Yeah. Well, for the marketing team, yeah. But I mean, they're not. Yeah, exactly. They're making movies for money. So I mean, I don't know.
I don't like them saying that, they don't make it for people like us. Why? I think our generation probably still the ones keeping them together. I don't understand. Why can't they just make everything in English? I don't understand why they got to put it in a language, the kids' lingo today. My son would probably be able to decipher all of it for me, but do I really want to sit down and have him do that? No.
But that's how they pretend to talk. That's not even how they really talk.
I know.
Right.
But so the other thing about this film I just want to mention, so if anyone thinks I'm exaggerating, the film opens with a line of dialogue, which is, never underestimate the violence an old white man is capable of, and ends with, having balls sucks. Those are the dialogue at the beginning and the end of the film. And between it It continues that theme in every scene. So my problem isn't necessarily the dialogue itself. It's that you're actually telling part of your audience, go away.
I was going to say, like, we're talking about inclusivity, but this sounds the opposite. It's like in an attempt to make something inclusive, they've completely shoot out too many people.
Absolutely.
And I mean, they lost me at Vince Vaughn. But
well, I didn't even say it, but his performance is painfully Jim Carrey too. So I mean, a late Jim Carrey too. So.
There for a while too, Vince Vaughn was sort of looked at as like, this indie darling, everybody loved him, and then Psycho happened. And then
and I think someone thought that was the clever part of like casting him in this. Is like, oh, we got the guy who was in the Psycho remake. You get it? No, none of us got it because we're just too annoyed by everything else on screen.
So. Yeah. Thank you, Nico, for the $5 super chat. He says he is here to listen, learn, and like it. Thank you, Nico.
Class is in session.
I actually I like Vince Vaughn in comedy, but when he's done his more serious stuff, like he was okay in The Cell, but seriously, he took me out of it because he's not believable. He's not believable in those parts. He's a funny man, and he should stick to what he's good at, I think.
He seemed grossly miscast in that movie.
Yeah.
Vince Vaughn is like this alcoholic, burned out cop. Vince Vaughn, if Vince Vaughn was the top of your list for that, you know what I mean? J-Lo as like some sort of scientist. It's a stretch, but I'll buy it. You know. But then Vince Vaughn pops up and it's like, what?
He's done some dramatic roles.
Vincent D'Onofrio is the bomb in The Cell, though.
I was just going to say, Vincent D'Onofrio is what makes that movie so great. What's that?
I think it might have been somebody's street sweeper went out by their house or something.
Somebody's getting abducted.
Now, flying saucers don't make noises, so.
I forgot.
There might be stingrays, like heat or something.
Brawl and Subblock 99 was really good. I thought he did a good job in that.
Yeah, I started watching that. I probably got about 45 minutes into it, and I had to stop it, and I've just never returned. But I was locking it up to that point.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot of love for Blumhouse in the chat either. So
I used to be a big proponent, just like you were, Piz. It used to be almost the event company, and even their opening company ident. If you look at it, it references Evil Dead, Night of the Living Dead, Poltergeist, all in that ident. If you look close enough, they were screaming like, "We're one of you," and now they seem to be telling all of us, "We don't want you."
Yeah.
So it's tragic. So from a film that tries to appeal to everyone by insulting us, why don't we go to Stone to talk about a film that's just going to insult us?
Oh boy! All right, first a history. All right, picture it. It's October of 1974, Jamaica Hills, New York. This Israeli immigrant named Meir Zarki goes out to play tennis with one of his friends, and he brings his 9-year-old daughter along. And just before they're about to leave, a naked woman comes out of the bushes. She's extremely bruised, bloodied, walking like a zombie, essentially, and basically collapses in front of the three of them. And despite the fact that her jaw was broken, she relayed to them that she had just been raped by 2 men, brutally raped by 2 men in the park. And so at first, Mayor and his friend didn't know, should we take her to the police station to try to report these guys, or should we take her to the hospital? They decided to first take the daughter home and then go to the police station to fill out a report, even though she was even though she was, very, very injured. But they take her to the police station, and the police sergeant start asking her questions and try to get the whole story out of her. And let's just say that the questions were very much of the victim blaming variety, and it made Mayer very, very upset. And he starts, yelling at the cop. Look, we have to get her to the hospital. This is ridiculous. Stop treating her like this. And it felt like the abuse was just starting all over again. So they finally got her to the hospital. Her father thanked him for essentially saving her life. And when he got home, apparently, while he was out, apparently he found out that his daughter ran in and asked her mother what was going on, because she had no idea what rape was, and her mother explained it to her. And so Mayer finally got an idea to make a movie. He had studied in Israel, and the movie that inspired him to become a filmmaker was actually Bicycle Thieves. But he decided, you know what? I'm going to write a movie. I'm going to write a rape revenge movie about a woman that gets raped and she takes revenge against her attackers. And the original script was called The Housatonic Revenge. And he thought, you know what? My friend, he has this wonderful house out in Connecticut along the Housatonic River. Perfect, beautiful place to shoot the movie. So he writes the script, takes him about a year, gets some actors from New York, including Camille Keaton, who at that time had only done a few films in Europe. However, she was also essentially known as the grandniece of the silent film star Buster Keaton. And they made this movie in Kent, Connecticut. I mean, there were several crew members that walked off because they did not want to be part of the experience, because they knew what was in the script. They knew this was very serious subject matter, and that it was going to be very hard to watch. But according to the actors, everything in the shoot went very smoothly. There weren't any real issues, despite the fact that there were. I mean, how they got through that shoot is incredible. But they got through the shoot. Everything's in the can. He renames the movie Day of the Woman, and he proceeds to release it in international territories with Camille Keaton at his side. Apparently, several months after the movie, they decided to get married, and so they're selling the film around Europe, but they still have not got distribution in the United States. They really wanted to get distribution in the United States because when they were selling it to other countries as Day of the Woman, it got some business, but it wasn't really attracting anything. And then so they finally showed it to the Miami Film Festival in '79, and a man by the name of Jerry Gross, who ran the Jerry Gross organization at the time, had somebody there, said, okay, we want this movie, let's make a deal. This was the deal. The deal was, we will buy Day of the Woman, and we will distribute it in the United States. But there's a catch. You have to allow us to change the name to whatever we want, and have a completely different marketing campaign. So Mayer Zarki, while he was, he said, well, I haven't gotten any other deals at all in the past 2 years. I might as well take this one. And unfortunately, or maybe to the film's benefit, but let's just say that somebody at the Jerry Gross organization thought of the new title. They hired a model to go out in LA in a park to shoot a picture for the poster. And that poster happened to be this, with the brand new title, this very infamous poster, the I Spit on Your Grave poster from 1978. This woman has just cut, chopped, broken, and burned 5 men beyond recognition, but no jury in America would ever convict her. And I Spit on Your Grave is the name of the title of the movie, An Act of Revenge. And by the way, I will reveal that this woman, who was quite unknown for the past 40 years until a documentary was made about the movie and somebody recognized her as Demi Moore. They weren't able to get official confirmation before the documentary ended. However, Demi Moore officially confirmed in her book last year, yes, I did the photo shoot for I Spit on Your Grave. And as Jerry Gross' organization would say, they needed a butt to sell the movie. So
it's a very famous booty. Very
yes.
famous booty.
Now, absolutely. So now we arrive in July of 1980. The movie I Spit on Your Grave opens in Chicago, Illinois. And these two newspaper critics named Gene Siskel and Roger Ebert decide to go see the movie. And they were more than appalled. They were outraged. They were disgusted. They wrote essentially every negative adjective on the planet in their reviews. And essentially at the end of the year, they not only called it the worst film of the year, but also the worst film they'd ever seen, period. This was, a piece of horrible trash. It shouldn't be seen by anybody. And they essentially, what they did is they picketed theaters and told people, don't see this movie. They actually physically picketed theaters. Now, before I get to the meat of my topic here, no pun intended, I want to say just a few words about Siskel and Ebert, because, look, I grew up watching them. When they originally had At the Movies, and they later had their show with the thumbs up, thumbs down, that kind of thing. And look, anybody who had any interest in film knew who these guys were. And look, honestly, I liked their banter. I thought they really worked as a team. Now, over time, let's just say I've agreed a lot more with Roger Ebert than Gene Siskel. And considering Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is one of my all-time favorite movies, and Roger Ebert wrote that 50 years ago, I'm willing to give Roger Ebert a pass, even if a lot of people in the horror community understandably refuse to, because of the fact that they just condemned horror movies to high heaven at that time. Friday the 13th, every slasher movie, Silent Night, Deadly Night was another one that got impacted by theaters being picketed. And it's just how far does it go in terms of, well, I thought a critic was supposed to inform and educate, not to just go out there and say, no, you don't see this movie, don't see this movie, don't see this movie, whatever. I personally think that they just got so disgusted by all the movies, seen them one every week, week in and week out. And they just got tired of it. I think they just got tired of watching them and dealing with them. And, I've kind of washed my hands of those guys. To them, this is the worst movie ever made. And yet at the same time, in my opinion, I first saw I Spit on Your Grave in the year 2000. And I was kind of confused, and I think I questioned what everybody else questioned, which is, okay, did the director really make this as an exploitation movie? Or, did he make a feminist movie? Did he make a movie that is about rape and the impact of rape emotionally and psychologically? And it's about a woman that decides to take revenge. And there's a reason why there's no police presence anywhere in the movie. It just works that way. But putting Siskel and Ebert aside, look, I still respect Roger Ebert to a certain extent. But I not only do I think this is not one of the worst films ever made, I mean, I think that this is a movie. It's more of an experience. It's something that I honestly could never watch cold ever again. I have to watch it with an audio commentary. And that's why when the Millennium Edition, thanks to Elite Entertainment back in 2002, they released a DVD with 2 commentaries. 2. One of them with director Marzarki, where he explains the entire story of, the inspiration, the incident that happened in '74, shooting it in Kent, Connecticut, the Siskel and Ebert destruction, all that stuff. And then there was another critic by a man who I had never heard of before. I assure you all, I had never heard of Joe Bob Briggs before I listened to his commentary for I Spit on Your Grave. And right off the bat, Joe Bob Briggs, opens it up like a scholarly essay almost. Is this the most disgusting movie ever made, which is what Siskel and Ebert said on sneak previews? Or is it the most feminist movie ever made? And he says, that's what we're going to figure out while we watch it. And that brings me to the fact that, look, it took me a long time to really understand and appreciate what this movie was and what the director was actually saying. I do not see it as an exploitation movie called I Spit on Your Grave, but rather I consider it a feminist movie called Day of the Woman. And yes, that is a very rare original poster for Day of the Woman. And this is part of the Ronin Flicks I Spit on Your Grave Collector's Edition Blu-ray. Here again, courtesy of Ronin Flicks. This just came out last week. I believe it is limited to 5,000 units. I wish I should have double-checked that, but I know that this is a limited edition. But a very hard box of the very famous image of Jennifer on the Housatonic River about to axe Stanley. And on the back is the Housatonic River. Beautiful, gorgeous artwork here. This rivals the Friday set, in my opinion. And what we have here is Day of the Woman, which I will always keep as Day of the Woman, even though there's a reversible sleeve for the I Spit on Your Grave. This is the sequel, which came out in 2018, starring Camille Keaton, returning after 40 years with director Marzarki, and also Jamie Bernadette on the cover there. And this is the documentary that also came out a couple of years ago called Growing Up with I Spit on Your Grave, narrated and directed and edited by the director's son, Terry Zarki, who actually has a cameo in the original movie as a 9-year-old boy, and his father offered him $10. His father offered him $10 to be in that movie. And then finally, we have this booklet with a bunch of images and some essays. And one of my favorite images in this entire book, it's on page 15. If I can get to it here real quick. That is Camille Keaton with Marzarki's children when she was living with them. And let's see, just 1 second here, page 15. There's this incredible poster, a very rare Day of the Woman poster. Look, somebody out on the internet needs to paint this. I will pay good money. If somebody decides to paint this, I will buy it off of you, because this poster is, I think, an epic. It's epic in every sense of the word. So, and finally, well, not finally, but almost. I intend, this box set is so awesome. I mean, Ronin Flicks, like I said, they did a hell of a job with this. But I do intend to keep these Blu-rays in this box a very specific way. And I will show you exactly what I mean. On the side, as you can see, is the DVD titles, Day of the Woman, Deja Vu, and at the top, Growing Up with I Spit on Your Grave. And on the covers, on the sides here, we have the 3 leading ladies. Camille Keaton, Jamie Bernadette, and Demi Moore. And I think that is just so awesome. I mean, I adore this set. And finally, the extra features. On the original movie, we have the 2 commentaries as we had before. It has been scanned in 4K. I did not detect one scratch, one blemish. The Housatonic River had never looked more gorgeous on film, if you ask me. And there's a brand new featurette, actually, a location featurette, where one of the essay writers goes to Kent, Connecticut, and shows us the locations in the movie. Now, I, in fact, have been to Kent, Connecticut. In fact, I even learned about it through the Joe Bob commentary that Friday the 13th Part 2 of all movies was shot there. And I remember I was traveling down south because I grew up in Northern Virginia, and my home was directly off of Route 7. And I thought, I'm driving back from the northern U.S. And I thought, you know what? I'll just take Route 7 all the way down. And would you happen to know? But Kent, Connecticut was on the route, and so I stopped and I found some of the locations, including Jennifer Hill's house, which is the house that the director of photography had, and it was the one where in Kent, Connecticut is where they shot the movie. I have a picture of that house that in this featurette doesn't have, because apparently back when I took the pictures, nobody lived in the house. In fact, in this featurette, they didn't get a shot of the house because of the fact that there were private property signs, and the owners are like, nope, leave us alone. We don't want to know. Even though the one that owns some of the other actresses' house, they're totally open, and they actually talked on camera. The documentary also has some new extras, including an 8mm film with Terry Zarki and Camille Keaton, and also the son decided to put Mayor Zarki and Camille Keaton's wedding footage on there from 1979. How sweet! That's really sweet. And then finally, on Deja Vu, we have a brand new audio commentary with Joe Bob Briggs. And let me just say real quick, Joe Bob Briggs is an awesome commentator. I want him to do more. I mean, and what blows my mind is that the I Spit on Your Grave commentary that he did, that was the very first audio commentary he ever did. And, you know, he makes a lot of, I think, salient points, very lucid points throughout both commentaries, while at the same time providing his brand of humor. And let me just say that one quote from the original commentary, which I'll never forget. At the time, I assure you all that he was saying it as a joke. It was just a joke, because I remember laughing about it at the time. But you could see how this movie was a resume killer. None of these 4 actors that played the rapists never did another movie. And I actually don't think they're bad actors. I've seen much worse. I guess when you're going to casting calls in New York and your audition reel says rape number 1 and rape number 2, they are not too anxious to hire you for the next episode of The Cosby Show.
Actually,
what? That he said it as a joke. He said it as a joke at the time. Who knew that would have been prophetic? I mean, so look, I mean, I know these films are not for everybody. That is the understatement of the century. But I'll be perfectly honest with all of you. I like Deja Vu better than the original. So if you want to get this set, there's not many. There's only a limited print of it by Ronin Flicks. It is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful set.
Did you show us the photo? Did you show us the photo of the house, the infamous house?
Oh, I sent it to you via Twitter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Show it. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you want to get the, does anybody have anything to say about Day of the Woman or I Spit on Your Grave? Because I would be open to hearing any opinions, whether they be hostile, neutral, or positive in any way, shape, or form. Because this is one of the most discussed movies of all time. It may be one of the most hated. But look, ever since Joe Bob Briggs's commentary, there have been books, there have been scholarly essays, there have been so much written. I mean, more films made. I mean, so if anybody wants the floor on this, now's the chance.
I think of that movie kind of the same way I think of Last House on the Left.
Yeah.
Like I admire it for what it did, or for what it does, I should say. But it's not one that I choose to watch on a regular basis.
I have to say, I don't think it's. I like the movie. I mean, I actually prefer the remake, to be honest. But I do. The original movie inspired the remake, so you can't go wrong on the OG. It is brutal. It is violent. It is awful. It is disgusting. But I think it's important, and I think it's important to see the kind of violence that can be done to women out there. I also think that it's really important to show that a woman can turn around and stand up for herself if she needs to. And so it really should be a cautionary tale. Watch out who you're messing with, because you may think that you have the upper hand, but you never know what kind of brain they have. He might be a little smarter than you and might be able to trap you in the end.
And there is the house that Stone was referring to earlier.
Yes, and like I said, when I visited Kent, Connecticut, I took that picture. I took it on a disposable camera, by the way, but I actually decided to go to the local real estate company and ask them about the house. And they told me that, the house has been empty for a while now. And I told them, well, is it because of the movie that was shot there? And they had no idea. And so I explained to them, this movie was shot there and everything. And then one of them turned to the other and said, you know what? I bet this explains exactly why we haven't sold this house in 8 years. I'm telling you. And yet now you can't go anywhere near it. So that is a picture of the house. It is not on the location featurette, but there it is for yourself.
I always feel that I Spit on Your Grave and Last House on the Left and Miss 45, basically the entire rape and revenge subgenre, gets a bad rap for exactly the reason it should be cherished, which is it elicits a response that's immediate and powerful. Now, repulsion is not necessarily something people enjoy all the time, but I think that too many films make me feel nothing. So to feel a little bit of anxiety going into a film I've seen a few times, because I've probably seen I Spit on Your Grave, I don't know, maybe 8 times in my life, that's still a powerful movie if it can still get me to feel that way. Because I'll be honest with you, outside of nostalgia, which is kind of a bullshit emotion in a lot of ways, you don't feel anything knowing what's going to happen in Star Wars or even Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know what's coming. You're just going to enjoy the ride again, right? But a film like I Spit on Your Grave, you feel that bubbling up again going, man, did I just sign up for this again? Am I going here? It's kind of like when you have that friend that says, I've never seen Irreversible. I'm a little nervous. Would you watch it with me? And you're like, dude, I might be busy for a while. I have this thing going on. I don't know if, no, find someone else. And I think that should be cherished. Again, not for everyone. Stone is right. But you know what? Not for everyone actually can mean perfect for someone, though. So.
Yeah. It's not made for me. It's just not made for me.
Because you're not a rapist.
Yeah, you're not a filthy rapist.
For backwoods New England rapists. That's the audience.
It's not for you, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I mean, if we're gonna talk about whether it's exploitation or not, I don't think so. because I don't think the intent was to be, to exploit anything until, okay, and I have to bring this up, the poster. And here's why I'm going to bring up the poster. How ironic is it that it's a movie about, women's revenge, and they say we need ass to sell it. I'm sorry, but do you see how ironic that is? Do you see how that might be taken the wrong way, and how it kind of it's conflicting? I find that ironic, and I really wish that they would have done something else. I understand it, but it takes away from the meaning of the movie.
It was distributed and sold as exploitation.
Yeah,
when it wasn't made as exploitation. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm going to disagree with you guys. It's so big. It's an exploitation movie, up and down, and you shouldn't run from that. It's not a bad thing. You can, inside any art form, whether it is a comic book, whether it's a television commercial, you can do great things. You can make a great, meaningful exploitation film. Doesn't mean it's not an exploitation movie. There was a decision made early in that movie to go extreme with everything. It was the right decision, by the way. But they made it knowing the film was playing on 42nd Street, not in a suburban mall. Okay, they knew that. I don't see exploitation film as any kind of pejorative at all. In fact, I think it almost means it just meant you were actually interested in finding your audience.
I've discovered a whole new appreciation for that poster now. That it's Demi Moore's booty on there. You know,
that is Demi Moore. That is Demi Moore.
So,
very young Demi Moore.
She was like 20 at the time, and the woman on the commentary, she was just hilarious. She kept on saying, "I know that butt. That is Demi Moore. I showered with her at the gym. That is her butt. I'm telling you." And she finally was hanging out with her one day, and she was looking through an album, and a bunch of these "I Spit on Your Grave" posters came out, and she looked at them, and she was like, "What? Are you serious?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, I posed for the poster." But she didn't officially say it into her book last year. So, but yeah, that is Demi Moore.
That's cool.
That is, yeah.
I've never seen the movie, and I have no intent of never watching it myself. But it's just not for me, literally. But I do want to know a little bit about Ronin Flicks, because I know nothing about the company. It sounds like they make some pretty awesome products. Like, is this
a lot of exploitation?
Yeah.
Is it like okay?
Oh, okay.
That box looked awesome. All the extras in that set look great.
Yeah.
There's so many of these little niche companies now, right? I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't keep up with them all.
Well, did Ronin Flicks produce it, or did they just distribute that one, or is it like a Ronin Flicks exclusive?
I know
they do a lot of like just distribution stuff. Let's see. Like I think the Haunt release was like an original for them, but I know they've released like Code Red stuff in the past, and like the Death Wish 3 release, that was a Scorpion release, but it was a Ronin Flicks exclusive, like sold just through Ronin Flicks' website. So, but I mean, they get a lot of exclusive cool stuff, and it's a lot of exploitation.
So it's just a distributor for other people's products, basically, like a site you can hit. Okay, cool.
And for the record, if anyone's really offended by this film, there's a film called Thriller, a cruel film, that you probably shouldn't go near if the concept of I Spit on Your Grave bothers you.
Yeah. That's a good film, though.
It is. It's not a great film, but it's a good film.
It's got a lot of Yeah,
it's not an R-rated film.
More graphic.
It is not an R-rated film.
Well, let's. Last week we spent a lot of time talking about Eli Roth's Knock Knock. We spent probably more time talking about that movie and went more in depth on that movie than anyone ever, or anyone ever should, for that movie. And we actually challenged Jamie to watch the movie and to give us her perspective on Knock Knock, because Monty and Christian were giving their perspectives on it last week. So, Jamie, please, you have the floor. Tell us all about Knock Knock.
Okay, so I watched it the other night, and when I first started watching it, of course I was getting angry because I was like, what in the heck? How did they come up with this scenario? Why would they come up with this scenario? What is the purpose of this movie? This has to be just pure entertainment because I don't understand where this idea is coming from. Well, at the time, I didn't realize there was a original, from the 70s, and I do now that I looked it up. Remember, the original, but it changed my opinion a little bit because then I realized, well, what I think I'm not so sure that it was meant to be entertainment. I think there's two messages in it, and I'll get to that. But first, I want to talk about the pros and the cons of what I thought of it. The pros are, I think it looks gorgeous. The girls, their acting is outstanding. It took me 3 days to realize that one girl, the blonde, is the one that was in, what is the name of that movie? Knives Out. That she's the nurse in Knives Out. I didn't put that together because she looks totally different in each movie. So she can morph. I like that. The first half of the movie was good. It's Keanu Reeves. The dynamic with the children, it was unbelievable a little bit. He's not the greatest actor when it comes to certain things, but other things I think he's really good at. And he does get better as the movie goes on. I really like the fact that it builds up the tension, especially the sexual tension that's happening between the three of them, and it builds it and builds it and builds it, and you're wondering, when is he going to crack? Because he's going to crack. I knew he was going to crack because of you guys telling me anyway. But even if I wouldn't have heard about it before, I would have known that he was going to crack anyway, because like they say at the end, no one ever says no. Well, I have to agree with those girls on that. Seeing a man say no, I understand. I do. I don't think that most men would say no. Maybe some would, but most I don't think would, especially in that situation, which I'm getting to. I liked the set design. I thought the color scheme was awesome. It was very colorful in the beginning. Actually, the whole movie is really colorful. I really liked that a lot. The seduction dance in the living room is brilliant. The fact that he keeps getting up, he goes over to the couch, they come sit next to him. Then he gets up and goes to the chair. They come over, they're touching him. He's very uncomfortable. You can see it, that he does not want to do this. You can tell these girls are coming onto him, and that he just doesn't, he doesn't want to do it. When he goes into the shower to kick them out, I'm praying inside, please actually physically kick them out of your house. These girls are insane. These girls are nuts. I don't trust them. This is all wrong. Get them out. Of course he doesn't. After that, I think the actions of the girls, it's far-fetched and over the top. And here's why I say that. And I know it's supposed to be. It was meant to be. It's kind of the plot point, right, of the movie. So I get it. But it's just, I don't know any women like this. I don't know any women who would go out and victimize men in this way. So for me, it was very difficult to listen to these girls, with their language and their seduction manner. It was very male for me. It doesn't seem like something a woman would do. It seems like something men would do. No offense to anybody. Please do not get mad at me for saying that. It's just that it's too aggressive, and females don't tend to be aggressive like that. So I did have a little bit of a hard time with that. It made the movie less believable, and it brought me out of the storyline a little bit. But that's that's fine, because I realized afterwards that it is a remake, and in the original they act just as crazy. So I get it. I totally get it. In the end, when he hits like instead of delete, I thought that was a genius move. I thought that was really hilarious. I'm not sure how I feel about the wife coming in at the end and the little kid saying, dad at a party, because it just bothers me. They changed the ending. So in the original ending, the girls leave the house and then they get hit by a bus. So it's karma, it's karma coming together. These girls, they get away and they get off and they get away, and they ruined his life probably, and I'm sure, first of all, it's not believable. The wife is going to come in. She's going to see everything. She's going to find him in the ground. She's not going to think, that he's not been victimized. So for them to portray it as if, like it's some kind of feminist message, I don't see it that way. I don't see this as a feminist movie. In a sense it is, because of the surface message, but I honestly believe that because he makes it so that they get away, there's an underlying misogyny to that, because he's saying that these girls, I don't know how people are going to feel about this. Okay. There's a lot of talk a lot of times with men about women being fake and saying that they, were raped and it wasn't real and it was fake. And, that women go out there and they lie about this stuff, and, they shouldn't dress a certain way and they shouldn't do this and they shouldn't do that. In my opinion, this movie is sort of taking that, and it's a fear story. I get what he's trying to do, but it's a fear story for men, saying you better not cheat on your wife. You better not even let these ladies in the house. You better not even be nice to them, because it will all come back to bite you in the ass. Well, I have a problem with the fact that these girls get no karma, because in my opinion, he's saying that these women out there telling these lies are getting away with it, and you guys should, you should be aware that these women are out there doing it. The truth is, I don't believe there's a lot of women out there telling these lies about men. I mean, there's some, I'm sure. There's always the bad apples, but I really don't think that it's a message that needs to be sent out there in a movie. And the way I feel about the messages in movies is, if people after The Exorcist, started calling up the police and saying I'm possessed, if people after going to see the Omen, started calling up and saying my child is the devil, then what's to stop, people from thinking this kind of thing, like, well, this is telling me that women are all shisty and they're all lying and they're all like out to get us. And I get it. I like both messages. I get it. But I do find a little bit of a misogyny in an undertone underneath the storyline. It's subtle, but it's there. Overall, I'm going to give this 3.5 hearts out of 5, because I actually really, really liked the movie. I really enjoyed it. I think that the free pizza line, I know a lot of people laugh at that, but I thought that was genius. That was incredible. He starts yelling out, it was free pizza. Yes, it was free pizza. It was free pizza. And it's funny to me that that's how Eli Roth put it, or whoever wrote it. I'm not sure who wrote it. I didn't really look into that stuff, but I definitely think that it was worth it in the end to see it. I think everybody should see it. I think it's a movie worth watching. I think it actually might even be a classic in the making.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, I know it came out a couple of years before the Me Too movement really got started, but do you think it's really making a statement about our, where we are as a society as far as, sexual harassment goes and, stuff like that?
I do. I'm not sure which angle he was trying to come from. I think on the surface, like I said, I think he's trying to say, hey, men, you better, if you're married, you better watch out. I didn't like the fact that he did it that way, though. And here's why. If my husband were home alone and a woman or two women came and knocked on the door and they were freezing cold and stuck in the rain, I would be disappointed if he did not help them.
But he held a gun on them.
Furious.
But he held a gun on them while they were there, right?
Yeah. The gun, that's another thing. The gun was in the egg. It was an Easter egg. The gun comes flying out. Why didn't he grab the gun to begin with? Because he felt the girls were not very threatening. I'm not really sure, but the fact that the gun is there that whole time is really funny and ironic. And I enjoyed that. I thought that was pretty funny that he could have used the gun the whole time and he didn't.
I once had a buddy tell me, he goes, "Hey, you want to get laid? Get yourself a wedding ring."
Well.
He said, women will see you want no commitment, you want no relationship, you're just good to go. And there's a lot of women, married women included, who are down with that. Just get you a wedding ring. And he would know he was married. Was married.
Yeah, I bet.
So.
Yeah, some of the ridiculous things in it, like the headphones, come on. He could have shook those right off his head, and the inhaler thing really upset me. I didn't like the inhaler being taken and then the guy dying. That's another thing. The whole friend dying thing and then putting him in the back of the van and stuff. I mean, it's obvious their prints are all over the house. So it's like they made this in a hurry and then didn't realize that there was going to be so many like mistakes when it comes to plot, Like I don't find that stuff believable that he would get in any trouble for any of this because of the way that they left things. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about it. So yeah, go ahead, you guys. Tell me what you think.
Nice. I like your perspective on the film. I appreciate the time and effort and thought that you put into it.
Oh, there's one other thing that I forgot about. It's very important too. People might ask themselves, why are these girls doing it? Well, they tell you why they're doing it when they're in the bedroom scene and they have him tied to the bed and she's calling him daddy. Why is she calling him daddy? Because she's re-victimizing. That's what's happening. That's what you're supposed to get, to conclude is that these girls are crazy because they've been victimized and they're re-victimizing people. It's their way of coping with it. And I'm not sure if a lot of people picked up on that little, part of it or not, but I of course did because of my own personal life and what I know about things in my own personal life. So I picked right up on that. And I knew for a fact that they were saying that they'd been victimized and this is how they deal with it. It made them crazy. And that's why she was calling him daddy. And the whole idea with the outfit, from the daughter's room and then sticking the daughter's underwear in his mouth, absolutely disgusting. That's the only thing that I can say for a fact that pissed me off, like really bad in that. And is the only thing that I can say, hey, Levi Roth, up yours, because I don't ever want you to do that again. That's beyond the pale and too sick. So, and that's it.
And I would argue that you felt something.
I did feel something. Anger.
Job successfully done.
I actually really liked it. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I managed to catch both Knock Knock and the original movie Death Game over the weekend. The original, the only thing that really stuck out to me about the original, aside from the ending, which I do prefer the original ending, excellent analysis, by the way, Jamie, and I pretty much agree with everything you said, but I prefer the ending to the original. I really do. And, I think Eli Roth was just going for a laugh at the end with his version. And to me, it brought the movie down a bit. I thought the movie was fine. I thought Knock Knock was okay. It was entertaining. I thought a lot of the dialogue was crap. And yes, Eli Roth co-wrote it with two other guys, but I got to admit that pizza line is funny.
I like it.
Yeah. But the original, the thing that stood out to me about the original was the house. And, the new one is very polished and clean and everything, but the original, it was, the print I saw at least was atrocious, but the house was actually a pretty nice house. And evidently two of the production designers were Bill Paxton and Sissy Spacek.
I saw
of all
that.
people. I confirmed that it was actually them. Like, of all people. And of course, Colleen Camp, who was one of the girls in the original, she produced this new one, Knock Knock, and also has a cameo, which he visits Keanu Reeves. And the other girl from the original was Sandra Locke.
Mm-hmm. She's
and she, So, I mean, I don't need to see either of them again, but I thought Knock Knock was perfectly serviceable. But it had those mixed elements and messages, and also I just thought the dialogue was just mostly just atrocious. But that's me.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can now officially close the book on Knock Knock.
Yes.
Let's never.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, next time I have a whole dissertation.
Next week on this on Regionfree.
I do have to say that I recommend it, though. I do recommend it. I think it was worth a watch, and I actually really enjoyed it, even though it took me through a roller coaster ride. That's exactly what it should do, is take you through a roller coaster ride. So bravo, Eli Roth. I thought you did a pretty good job, even though I don't agree with some of the underlying things in it. I definitely think that it's worth a watch, people. So go see it.
If Charles Bronson starred in Knock Knock, the movie would last. Bronson wouldn't even open the door. He'd say, "You broads get away," or he would have just fired through the door at him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They wouldn't have got it if they got in the house. I mean, come on.
No. It's a totally different movie. It happens to Bronson's friend. He starts nosing around what happened. He uncovers the sex ring. He kills everybody. He gets free pizza at the end.
Exactly. And at the end, there's a pizza party.
Yeah, there's a pizza party on Bronson's
party, pizza party.
That. Damn, if only, if only.
The way the girls destroy the house and all that art and stuff, I mean, it was way over the top. That's the part that drove me the most nuts. I mean, otherwise I liked it a lot, but that's what brings the score down for me, because it was ridiculous. Like when he comes down for breakfast in the morning and she's eating like cereal out of the dog bowl, and she's got like peanut butter all over her spoon, and I mean, none of it makes sense. They're throwing food, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense.
They do that in the original too, to be honest. I mean, in the morning they pretend like they own the place, and they just start eating all its food in very sloppy ways. I mean, there was a lot of callbacks to the original Death Game, and but I just don't understand why he felt the need to change the ending.
Yeah, I mean, I think those girls should have got their comeuppance.
Damn right.
I really like that. I thought, oh, a bus? Oh, that's great. I like that. So I thought it was going to happen at the end, and it didn't. I was disappointed in that.
See, if Tom Atkins had starred in this movie, both of the women would have fell in love with him. Yeah, and they would have all lived happily ever after. I mean, come on. All right, let's close the book on Knock Knock. We've gone way too in depth on Knock Knock, and let's turn the floor over to Raiho. What have you got for us this week, Raiho?
I'm gonna we're gonna cool off. We've had too much rape and revenge and everything else that's going on.
Did I forget to mention the castration? Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh, God. Let's. You know what? Screw my topic. Let's talk about castration for an hour.
Yes.
You know what? After last week, I got to watch Dr. No. I just couldn't help myself. I had to keep it up, and so I took in From Russia with Love. So I kind of wanted to switch gears completely and talk a little bit about that. There's nothing going on in November, right? So I'm calling it Dr. November because there's nothing going on in November. that's important in Canada anyway. And so this one is the sequel to Dr. No, of course, came out in 1963, directed by the same director. There's a little bit of a more of a formation toward what would be, you know, the James Bond formula go forward in this movie. It's got a theme song, although it's not actually played over the intro credits. But it's becoming what you would most people kind of credit the next film as kind of the blockbuster James Bond movie that would kind of become the trope, if you will, going forward. But it has one of those cold opens, which would become formulaic going forward. Like I said, it's got the theme song. It actually ends with like a teaser for the next movie and stuff like that. So it's got little tidbits that would, you know, become that. I don't know. I've always been on the fence with From Russia with Love. I like the movie. There's a couple of things that I really like about the movie, and then for the most part, I kind of find some of it kind of bland. But it's a much grander adventure than Dr. No. Dr. No, you know, is set in Jamaica, and that's really all you see. This film takes us, you know, to Istanbul, and then, you know, you're on a train. You know, you don't really get to see any of Yugoslavia, but you're on a train heading to Yugoslavia, and it has a final moment in Venice. So it's a bit of a trick, but, you know, it has a more international appeal, of course. It goes through more countries and stuff like that. But it opened again. This one introduces a lot of stuff that would become so important to the Bond films. You know, we of course were introduced to Spectre and Dr. No, but in this one, he's called Number One, but we are introduced to Blofeld, of course. Rosa Kleb's in there. There's you know, there's some things that they tried in this movie, but they didn't run with going forward. There's a scene where, in the first film, Bond spends an evening with a woman named Sylvia Trench, which, interesting enough, is how that whole James Bond thing came to be. She introduces herself as Sylvia Trench, and he replies it to her, you know, Bond, James Bond. But she's in the film. It's like they were going to try and go with this gag and all the movies going forward that, you know, between missions, he would call up this old girlfriend and meet up with her, but they only did it in these two movies. But she gets a moment in the film. It introduces Q. I don't think they credit him as Q. They speak of Q Branch, but it does introduce Q. He gets a gadget, you know, he gets this briefcase with some stuff in it. So there's all these things that would, of course, continue to build up on the mythos of Bond. One of the things I really like about this movie was one of the characters in it, Ali Karim Bey, who's played by Pedro I'm going to say this wrong, Armendariz. Who I just thought he had so much character in the film. He's such a fun character. I had always hoped, every time I watched it, I'd hope that he would continue to be in other movies going forward. He, of course, would not. In fact, unfortunately, the character committed suicide, I think, like maybe 4 months before the movie was actually released. Interestingly enough, his son would be in License to Kill years and years later. But I mean, it's got certain things that it's got a classic train fight. It's got a great bad guy in this one. What's interesting about the bad guy in this one is Robert Shaw is in it, of course, from Jaws fame and many other films. But he plays Red Grant, and you know, in the Bond films, the bad guys always have some kind of physical defect. They always have something that makes them stand out. You know, Bond is the perfect guy, and they're, you know, the opposite and kind of thing. And this one, he's this kind of sleeper assassin agent. So he looks very much like Bond, and it's kind of an interesting thing that they don't play with too much go forward. But he's a really cool character. He kind of like shadows Bond the whole movie, and he's kind of like, he's got, you know, he's always one step ahead of him, kind of a thing. Until they have that great train fight. It's got the first helicopter chase, I think, in the films, which would continue to be a big, like, I think from this movie forward, there was only one other movie that maybe didn't have a helicopter in it, which I'm thinking it was Man with the Golden Gun, maybe something like that. So it's in a lot of them. There's a boat chase. It's like I said, it's got everything almost for the most part. For some reason, I don't always watch this one myself, but having revisited it now in a different lens, I'm kind of like really intrigued and interested in some of the stuff that I saw in it. You know, it's also got an interesting story because it's really kind of a revenge film from the bad guy's point of view. There's this whole convoluted story about Bond trying to get this translation device to decode Russian messages and stuff. But really what it's about is Spectre are ticked off at him for killing Dr. No, and they want to like completely ruin him. They want to ruin his life and kill him and all this stuff in the process. So it's kind of an interesting story. though I don't know if that completely lands when you watch it. I know for the first couple of times I watched it, I don't think I picked up on that, even though it's right there. But you know, I really thought he was trying to get this device, and I didn't really quite get the interconnections of all the things going on. But yeah, I have to say this viewing of it really made me appreciate From Russia with Love a lot more. And you know, I mean, I'm going to put over any Bond movie and say that you have to watch it. But I really, really did enjoy this viewing of the film, and of course, it would at the very end kind of kick off with you know, James Bond will return in Goldfinger, which is Goldfinger's the one that was a real big blockbuster. I think Connery made like $50K on the first movie, and I think in this movie they doubled the budget, so they gave him a bonus of $100,000. So I think he made $154,000 in this one. But I think Goldfinger was kind of the big one that really set everything apart, and he started making the big bucks playing Bond. But that's my thoughts on From Russia with Love. Is anybody on the panel? Anybody have any thoughts on the movie?
I've seen it several. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say
No, go
I
ahead.
haven't seen it since I was little, so it's been a very long time, and I get confused between all the different Bond movies. So I will have to do some rewatching of these Bond movies.
Yeah. I saw a bunch of them when I was a kid. I don't remember. I remember Jaws. I love Jaws, of course. You know. I love the guy who threw the hat and it decapitated the statue.
Odd Job.
Odd Job, of course.
Yeah.
I love the gadgets and the bad guys. I think the best.
See, that's the thing about this movie and Dr. No is that it's before all those kind of like the silly aspects. This is still very much the. I know it doesn't look like it on the surface because he makes quips here and there and stuff like that, but it is really that gritty Bond that they kind of tried to revisit later with Timothy Dalton's character. They tried to they literally made a revenge movie with him. They were trying to go back to that because the roots of it, I guess. I speak highly of these movies. I've actually never read a Bond book in my life, which is crazy, but they were trying to go. He really is this kind of this gritty badass spy, and he's not that nice of a guy, honestly. He's just trying to get laid and kill bad guys. That's honestly, but it was in the next one that really things took off, and it became this. I mean, the Roger Moore character really, and I love some of those movies, is really where he got really silly. And then now they've kind of come full circle and brought it back with Daniel Craig to kind of come back to that character. But those things, I love those things too. But this movie is not. If you really look into those, silly bad guys with, like you said, like Blade on their hat, and it's that stuff's not in this movie.
Or titles like Octopusher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So aside from, is Connor your favorite Bond, or was Connor your favorite Bond?
When I was younger, he definitely was. I liked, like I said, there was a couple of Roger Moore movies that I really, really liked, but near the end of Roger Moore's run, he's got liver spots. He's barely running on screen. You know what I mean? There's and the same happens to Connor, really. I mean, he did a 10-year span, so he gets older as they go and something like that. But he was my favorite when I was younger. Now, I don't know. I know it sounds crazy, but I really like the Craig films. Of course, there's a stinker in there as usually, but I do like that take. I love Skyfall. Skyfall is on my top 3. I just love that movie. So I don't know. I would say Connery's my favorite. I'll say that now for sure. But
any Stingray, Lauren, Stone, Jamie, are you guys Bond fans?
I've seen the movie. Go ahead.
No, you go this time. You go. Okay.
I've seen the movies many times. I've seen them all many, many times. I think the first one I saw was Diamonds Are. No, actually, the first one I saw was Moonraker, which I think is a perfect introduction to Bond when you're a kid. It is actually a perfect introduction when you're a kid. I do think so. But Diamonds Are Forever, I think, is underrated, and that's the second movie I watched. And I fell in love with Jill St. John in that movie almost immediately. She was also in the first Batman episode with Adam West. And my favorite Bond, though, is really Timothy Dalton. I think Living Daylights and License to Kill are two of the most underrated movies in the entire series. And out of Connery's, I would say I like or love 5 out of 7 of them. The only 2 I don't like, not really because of him, are You Only Live Twice and the unofficial Bond movie, Never Say Never Again. which was a remake of Thunderball, but Thunderball is one of my favorites, and like it doesn't it doesn't hold a candle to that original film. But
yeah, it really does not stack up to Thunderball at all. I agree, and that one's kind of I was actually found that one hard to watch, which is, you know,
Never Say Never Again.
Yeah.
You know, we have. I know that we're having this transition from Daniel Craig, and if I could pick one actor who I would love to see play James Bond, there's only one name that comes to mind, and that name is Eric Freeman. How's it going, Eric?
Say the name. Say it.
Are you kidding me?
Freeman. Eric Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, hey, I want to join in. I agree. From Russia with Love is a fantastic movie. It was very dark, not a lot of gadgets, good plot, a very good Bond movie. One of his best, absolutely his best film. If you know, there's a part in there where he goes to some gypsy camp and they have a little shootout, and the gypsy ladies are first, they're fighting to the death. They're very attractive gypsy women beating each other to death. And of course, Bond intervenes and because, you know, he saves the two damsels, the two gypsies, he is afforded the opportunity to bed them. And of course, you know, they're all very happy in the morning. And, you know, so Bond leaves very satisfied, and the gypsy ladies are the best of friends. And you know, but that, other than that, there was that, it kind of went into a little bit of camp there, but good movie. And License to Kill, I agree. Dalton, they actually wanted to get into a darker mode, a darker type of Bond, more realistic, kind of like what Daniel Craig has brought to us. And I believe that Timothy Dalton didn't get his due as far as Bonds. He didn't have the greatest scripts, but I thought he was one of the better Bonds in that particular, and that one well, that one, License to Kill, I thought was very good. And wasn't that the one about cocaine?
Mm-hmm. That's like the straight revenge movie. Like it's set very out of place with the rest of the series, but it is a really good movie.
Yeah,
I would actually argue that all modern films are about cocaine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It had Robert Davi from Die Hard.
Yeah, Robert Davi. And what's his name? Del Toro. Del Toro's in there, real young.
Benicio del Toro. Yeah.
Benicio del Toro's in there. He's like one. Yeah. He ends up going down the conveyor belt and gets chewed apart. It's normally the conveyor belt is chews up the cocaine to dump it into the gasoline to liquefy it so they can transport it. But he gets chewed up in the teeth and the gears of that. But no, he was great. He was very scary looking. He was this young and scary looking, and I didn't mean to take you guys away from it, but I do agree that those Bonds in particular, that From Russia with Love, License to Kill, very good Bonds. Wasn't a fan of Roger Moore too much, but the scripts they went into camp, you know. So yeah. Well, I didn't want to come on and ruin your show.
No, you didn't. Gosh, it's great to have that, you know, to speak with you about it. It's funny, somebody mentioned Batman, and that's the same thing, you know what I mean? The campy Batman show. It's the same thing that happened with Bond, you know, and it became, it was hard for like Timothy Dalton to break through that, right? Like it was very difficult because everyone was, I said before that these movies you go watch them for the same stuff every time. You're literally, it's like you're putting on a warm sweater. You're watching, you're looking for the car, you're looking for this, that, and the other thing. And for him to come into this movie and into this series and try to do something so different, I mean, he didn't really have a shot. It's surprising that Casino Royale really kind of broke through that. I remember I saw Casino Royale with my dad, who loves Bond movies. And I was walked out of that movie. I thought it was so action packed and all this stuff. And I thought it was so great. And he was like, he got in the car, and within 5 seconds, he flipped it. There was no car chase. He was so mad. He was so angry. You know what I mean? But like he just was so thrown away. But it didn't seem to bother anybody else. But there was a great foot chase in that movie, so I guess it makes up for it. But
yeah, I wanted just to say on that and Rush with Love that the lead actress in there, I don't know her name, but she was absolutely gorgeous. She's beautiful. And what was there? She played. There was the lady with the dagger in her shoe.
Rosa Klebb. Yeah,
Klebb. She was scary as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a poison, shard in your foot. It just was like a stiletto with poison in it, and it's just too much, man. And I was like, holy fuck.
Yeah. She really sells that scene at the end because they've already played out the poison dagger. They used it on someone else, so you know what it is. And she's like her face and everything. She's like an animal, just trying to stick that thing in him. She really sells it.
Yeah, she was supposedly kind of gay, but she was kind of hitting on the blonde in the early days. She was sending the blonde out there to, help Bond get the Lecter or whatever. But she was coming on to her. I'm like, oh Lord. But yeah, no, good movie. But some of the cinematography in that film is fantastic. And I don't mean to dwell on that, but it is a great Bond film. I know we're going back and it's dated in certain ways, but wow, no, other than Timothy Dalton, I love those two. I just watched that film like 5 weeks ago, so I'm very familiar with it. But I appreciate being able to talk on it. Very good film, and it may be going back too far. But what the hell? I like that old. I love that sharp. I don't know just the old celluloid. It just looked really good and clean and nice cinematography. So it's a good movie. Yeah.
And the Blu-rays, I have like one of the box sets that you can get pretty much anywhere right now. They look really good. I think MGM put them together. Maybe I'm used to watching these movies. I watched most of these movies. People in the chat are asking if I've seen them. I don't know if you remember, but TBS used to marathon them for like days. I think around the Olympics usually, because they didn't have anything else to air that would go up against it. So they would just run Bond movies nonstop. I can remember being like a teenager and, just grabbing some snacks, curling up in a chair and watching Bond movie after Bond movie after Bond movie over and over again. See, that's the only way I saw most of these was on TV or whatever. And these, I'm blown away by some of like, for much of I love the Blu-ray looks so good. And like you said, some of the shots are so like in Istanbul and they're just amazing. They're out in the cliff sides in Yugoslavia. I don't know where they actually shot it, but it looks awesome.
Yeah. No, there's a movie that Piz has that I sent him. It's a foreign film. It's a good film. I don't want to we may do something on this with the Forgotten Films, but it's a Norwegian film from 2011. And one of the actors you guys probably know, Nikolai Kostner-Waldau or something, really handsome blonde guy in there. I mean, it's extremely handsome guys in this film, but it's called Headhunters. I don't want to blow it for you, but in a sense that you may just be turned off by me saying it's subtitled, but this is a good film. Headhunters, 2011. If you can find it, watch it, because it's just a really. What I like also is getting the hell out of America and watching these foreign. I like let's go on a location here, or go over there, or go over to let's watch some scenery and Norwegian scenery, whatever. Anything to get me out of. America, so to speak. But this is a very good film, 2011. But I only mention it because it's subtitled and all that, but it's still worth it because even though you have to read, I'm not a big fan of reading, as I'm watching because I want to enjoy. But good film, and I'm hoping Piz will look at it and agree because that one's kind of unknown by people, and it's fantastic. Actually, it's a very good film.
Eric,
a lot of action, a lot of things going on, and fun. There's some funny stuff in there, and just stuff that is like, oh my god. They kind of, where you think you've seen it all, there's still stuff to see, and it has it. So only for my 2 cents. So that's a film that I throw out there. So
cool.
Eric, I have to warn you. I've given Piz subtitled films before. He's going to email you constantly while he watches it, asking what certain words mean. Anything more than 2 syllables, he's going to pause the film and email you and not watch more or even leave the chair. He just waits for a response. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of pressure to put on yourself, so You might want to think twice before doing that.
Sometimes I'll call you while I'm watching. Like, what's this? What's this? Headhunters? That's 3 syllables. That's beyond. Yeah.
Well, sometimes he just thinks things mean other things. So.
No, I sent it to him, Headhunters. I thought, oh, geez, it's perfect. He thinks it's horror and head chopping, and but it's not. But it has to do with Headhunter is more like. I guess I can say this. It's more like they're a headhunter. He's looking for talent. I guess the premise of the movie in the beginning is a guy that's looking for up and coming rising talent, and so that's what it comes from. But it really doesn't spend any. It isn't not a boring movie at all. So then I'm a big. I don't like boring movies. So I this one I like, and anyhow, that's my 2 cents. And I know that everyone else got a movie they probably want to throw out there, but good one, Headhunters.
Cool, very cool. I'll share the invite link if anybody wants to call in during our call-in portion here in just a little bit. But any particular favorite Thanksgiving movies for you, Eric?
I don't look at movies like for the season. I guess because we don't really have a lot of seasons out here in California. It's kind of all just whatever. But so I'm kind of terrible on this. Either say, hey, what's your favorite movie, or what's your favorite Christmas movie? Christmas movie. Die Hard's a Christmas movie. So,
I agree.
The other night I said, oh, you have to don a Santa suit to be in consideration. But the reality is, I think there's so much about in Die Hard that they set it up for Christmas. It's a Christmas party. There's so much that thrown out there that says it's Christmas that it really is. It is a Christmas movie, but it just because no one's in a Santa suit doesn't mean it's far more of a Christmas movie than the thing I did. But I know Jay's like, yeah, it's a Christmas movie, but it is. So
if Eric says it's a Christmas movie, then I guess Eric would know. Eric would know.
There's enough reference there. There's enough reference in for Christmas in that movie that you gotta say yes.
Okay, fair enough.
For me, it's a Christmas movie because I saw it at the theater when it came out at Christmas time. So for me, it really is a Christmas movie. It just screams the season to me.
Okay. Well, I know Jay the Stingray has some recommendations for us for Thanksgiving movies or movies to watch on Thanksgiving. Am I right?
I do.
All right. Go for it.
It's I don't know about you guys, but when I think about Thanksgiving, I think about family, right?
Right.
So on Thanksgiving Day, let me just give you a little example here of what you can do. So I would start out with a film called Teeth from 2007. This is about a young lady who realizes she's working with some pretty unusual equipment. She's having some problems with her romantic relationships with men, and it gets pretty crazy. So recommend that one. And, right when the turkey's starting to come out of the oven, you can throw on Ghoulies Go to College, Ghoulies 3. Nothing more fun than seeing some little creatures, drink beer and dress up like party or like frat guys, and call
just like your uncle at Thanksgiving dinner,
exactly, causing mischief. Then you can sit down with a nice slice of pie and put on Critters 2. That's a great film. That's technically an Easter movie, but I think it's a great one to put on for the family as well. And you could finish that out with The Holy Mountain from Jodorowsky. I think that'd be a great, interesting think piece for the family. You all can sit down and talk about what it actually means, the meaning of life, the great cinematography, what have you.
Nothing says Thanksgiving like sodomy.
That's right. That's right. I'd say that more times than not, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, and I can tell you, the family will love Teeth.
They will. They'll learn a lot of lessons in that one too.
The teeth in that the movie's referring to are not the teeth in her mouth.
Mm-hmm. They're downstairs.
They're downstairs.
How can you guys watch that? I can't even watch that. And I'm a female. I can't watch that.
It's a woman empowerment movie. It's
I can put it together. Her snatch cuts their cocks off. Is that
yeah, that's it.
I don't see that as empowering.
It's a learning experience for young men and young women.
But
I
don't
see
rape
that.
and don't get raped.
it doesn't. They don't bite off everybody's. Okay, there is one guy at the end who's nice to her and gentle, and the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
But I'd say like in experiences,
scrape
some unintentional, yeah, exactly, unintentional contact anyway, right?
I'm sorry, that's funny. Oh God!
You know
Vagina
what's bizarre? What's bizarre? The teeth in the vagina. That makes me think of Borat 2 because his daughter has that book that says, oh yeah, women have teeth in their vagina and that they get their hands bitten off if they try to masturbate. And that was like a huge joke when she enters like the Republican women's group or whatever and tells her, oh no, there is no teeth down there. Yes, touch your vagina. And it makes me think of that. Yeah.
But Stingray, those are all excellent choices for a nothing says family like those. I mean,
and I think if you really want to make sure that your holiday doesn't extend longer than you want it to, you could add Sallow 120 Days of Sodom to that list.
That would definitely clear out some people.
Yeah, by the third act, you're alone in the house, just like the government wants you.
or you know, right when you're getting ready to cut that pumpkin pie, pop on Martyrs.
There you go.
You know, why not?
Martyrs is more of an Easter movie, though.
Yeah. I'll meet you halfway there. Sure. Yeah.
Right after you go egg hunting, the kids get them all on the couch. Everybody can have a little treat and watch Martyrs. That'd be great.
This is a movie called Martyrs, kids.
Get ready. Get ready.
But that's an excellent list. Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead, Lauren. I'm sorry.
The first time I showed Martyrs to people, the group just stopped talking to me for like an hour and a half afterwards.
I can see that.
It was like I wasn't in the room.
After I watched Martyrs, I didn't talk to myself I hated myself for a long time after watching that movie. That I made myself watch that movie.
I love it.
You know, they remade that.
No, they didn't.
They did, but it's yeah, I've not seen it, but I've heard it.
They remade what's the one Inside? What's the one about the woman who has the French extremity film?
Mm-hmm.
She has the baby. Was it Inside? Is that the name of it? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, they remade that one as well. I mean, it's no way it's any good, right?
I didn't even know they remade that one.
I'm going to choose to live in a world where they don't exist, those remakes. So, no, they don't exist. It's that simple.
Americans can't read subtitles, so we've got to remake it in English.
Take out everything compelling.
Unfortunately, I do think subtitles turns off a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people.
Unfortunately, but that's true.
They're missing out on a lot of stuff because they don't like those subtitles. I mean, my favorite show from the last year was Dark, and it's subtitled. It's a good show. Watch it.
I think it just shows that there's a reading comprehension problem in America.
True.
I don't know if it's even that. I think it's just like, I don't know. I don't know. I think when people watch movies, they just want to relax and be absorbed in the movie and not, I don't know.
Well, Stone just has me come over and I read it to him. Which gets really uncomfortable with some of the movies he likes.
I can imagine. Yeah.
This was in the 90s. I don't remember what year it was, but my brother and I went to go see Brotherhood of the Wolf, which I believe is French.
Yep.
And we didn't know it was subtitled, and he like flipped out. We got our money back, It's a great film though. I've watched it since.
That's a really good movie. That was a cold rental for me when it came out, and I really enjoyed it.
That's Christopher Gans, right?
Yeah.
Not sure.
It is. I Let the Rat One In is still one of the most moving movies I've ever seen, and I mean that was subtitled and just such an amazing movie. You lose nothing. You don't lose any impact. If anything, I think you absorb the dialogue. Even I don't know.
I'm a lot more bothered by a dub. I just am.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can tell that the people's emotions that should normally be in their voices are off. No matter how good the voice actors are, it's not that original actor in that moment. So you're like affecting the performance. And that to me destroys a film a lot faster than simply having to read a translation of the dialogue on screen. So,
yeah.
I mean, Eric, you wouldn't want your performance in Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 to be misinterpreted, would you?
Well, perhaps it has been. People thought I did a good job. No, I don't know how to answer that. You kind of laid. You sent me a fastball. I knocked it out. No, well, that's not really even. I did what I did in 40 minutes of additional footage of a movie, so I don't really call it a movie. It is a Christmas film, I guess. So I don't know what to say on it other than that. I would only have to be self-deprecating if I did talk about it, because there's a lot of rough parts in there, but it's fun. It's got energy.
But here's the thing, though. That movie and your performance has entertained millions. So that's all that matters.
Yeah, who knew I'd be signing things 33 years later? Well, I'm as floored as anyone.
No, not just things. You signed how many things recently?
About 3,000 autographs. Yeah, it was crazy.
Okay, yeah,
it was crazy. Crazy stuff. I didn't know what to put on there, so I just either put punish or naughty, and then my name, because I was dragging ass through it, but didn't want to put any more in there. But how lucky am I that I was asked to do that? But no, thanks for bringing that up. People do some substantial pieces of work that are long forgotten. And I was just saying, my ex had traveled the world as a prodigy, a musician playing piano and saxophone and flute and many different instruments, and she played for the presidents twice. And then I was saying to Piz the other day, he was in Santa Monica, and she saw a family, a mom, a dad, and a kid all wearing Ricky shirts, and she just comes back to me and says, "What?" And I said, "Hey, I'm big stuff." And but it's irony. I stumble into it, and she works her butt off. How odd, but funny story.
Yeah.
For me, it was funny because say, "Well, baby, just do something bad. It'll work."
Yeah, you trained all your life to be this great musician. I was in this movie for 5 days, and I'm a legend now.
Yeah, what a crime. It's funny. I didn't mean to go off on that. I'm always interested in Lauren. I'm sure it's got some movies he wants to pitch. So, what do you got?
Oh, I've already done my share of pitching tonight, I think.
Oh, yeah? I see a guitar back there. It looks nice acoustic. What is that thing?
That is a Suzuki. It's a World War II era Suzuki.
Oh.
It's classical.
Oh, yes. I know what that is.
It is garbage condition, by the way, and cannot be tuned without replacing all the hardware, but it's a beautiful guitar just the same.
Yeah.
If you saw how far the strings are off the bridge, you'd cry.
Yeah.
Hey, Lauren, was that pun intended when you said garbage? Oh, sorry.
Oh, it was not. I'm not that clever as a stone, I'm afraid. As the night goes on, I get less clever. That's certainly true.
I actually have some movies to pitch because Thanksgiving is right around the corner. 2020 has been kind of a bummer year, but we've had some really good movies, I think, that have come out this year, and a lot of indie movies that probably wouldn't have got the same kind of attention that they would have gotten, that they got this year. They wouldn't have gotten last year or maybe even next year. So I wanted to talk about some movies, 2020 movies that I'm thankful for. And at the very top of my list is still my favorite movie of this year, and that's The Lodge.
Awesome.
Love The Lodge. If you guys have not seen The Lodge, I highly recommend it. Another great movie that came out this year, I know Lauren felt the same way about it, is Relic.
Scream Factory, where's my pre-ordered copy that I should have had on Tuesday? Where is that?
Do you have a shipping? I mean, did they send you a shipping tracking number?
Yeah, and it's stuck at the stage where it says that a number's been issued. They're waiting the package.
Oh, that's
not a good sign, right?
That's not a good sign. Yeah, there may have been some kind of. Well, Christian got it. Did Christian get it out of the store? Or did he buy it from Screen
Christian
Factory?
stole it out of my mailbox, is what I think. He came from Louisiana to New Jersey to steal my copy of Relic.
No wonder you didn't come on tonight.
Yep.
Yeah, he doesn't dare.
Guilty.
Another movie I really liked this year, I was surprised how much I liked it, was The Wretched. I wouldn't say it's a great movie, but I thought it was a very, very entertaining movie. That was one, The Wretched was like #1 at the box office for like an entire month. Granted, it was making like, a few grand a week or something like that, but it was #1 at the box office for like an entire month this year. But I really enjoyed that. #Alive, Korean zombie flick. I really enjoyed that. That one's available on Netflix. If you've got Netflix, definitely check out Alive. A Blumhouse movie. The Hunted.
The Hunt.
Oh, yes, The Hunt. I'm sorry. The Hunt. Yeah. I really enjoyed The Hunt. If you guys have not seen The Hunt, I absolutely recommend it. Come to Daddy with Elijah Wood. Really enjoyed that film. Really strange, odd, off-kilter movie. Liked it a lot. And May the Devil Take You Too. Really enjoyed it. It's on Shudder right now. It's like a combination of Evil Dead meets. There's a little bit of Night of the Demons in there, but it's far more. It's got some nice intense moments. Very good movie.
It's a very kinetic movie. It's awesome, and it just reminds you that Indonesia has it all going on in horror right now.
I put that in my watch list yesterday because you guys are talking about it so much that I'm like, I need to watch that.
It's on Shudder. It's definitely worth checking out. So yeah, movies I'm thankful for this year: The Lodge, Relic, #Alive, The Wretched, The Hunt, Come to Daddy, May the Devil Take You Too. All of them are available in some form to stream or to rent right now. I highly recommend them.
You know what? I just noticed Brandon Cronenberg's film
Possessor.
Is it Possessor? That's available now on VOD. I'm gonna have to check that out.
I've got that one on my list.
I actually have a screen somewhat near me that's playing it, so I'm going to try and get up there this week to see it.
That's
on
cool.
The screen. I just want to throw out, and by the way, Piz, you just named most of my top 10 of the year. We have a remarkable amount of crossover, but I just want to add The Dark and the Wicked, which is just the best feel-bad movie of the year. It's amazing. It's going to make you feel things you might not ever want to feel again, but you're going to feel them hard. I really, really enjoyed Dark and the Wicked.
Yeah, I've not seen that one yet. It's on my list too, for sure. So, yeah. Anybody else? Any 2020 movies that you're thankful for?
Christian mentions Color Out of Space. I agree. That one wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it was worth watching, and it's got a pretty gory scene towards the end with the, I'm not going to say.
I was just so happy to see Richard Stanley put out another movie that, I probably put it on a little bit of a pedestal just for that reason alone.
I still just want good Lovecraft adaptations, and I'm still kind of just waiting. Patiently. Not so patiently.
Yeah, I liked it. I didn't love it.
That's where I stand.
Yeah.
I think the last act falls apart big time.
Yeah.
But I mean, Nick Cage, Richard Stanley, H.P. Lovecraft, I'll watch it.
It sounds like a perfect mix, doesn't it?
But I am glad that Richard Stanley's making movies again, and I hope he continues to make movies.
When they cast Nick Cage, Richard Stanley told him he wants him to play it like he did in Vampire's Kiss. So that kind of explains how he's got the crazy eyes going and shit, you know.
Release the Stanley cut of Island of Dr. Moreau.
Amen.
Hashtag that. Get it up there. It can't be worse, right?
Okay. Anybody else movies you're thankful for this year, from this year?
Bill and Ted 3.
I enjoyed Bill and Ted 3.
Yeah.
I enjoyed Bill and Ted 3.
I liked Jay and Silent Bob the reboot.
I did not.
Oh, I love that too. I did.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Also, Boot Part 1, The Ghost Ship, which we talked about a lot in the early part of the year, at least being Piz did. It's a really solid, twisty little possession ghost story that goes places you're not quite expecting, but you also feel for the character in a really cool, kind of detached way. It is a longer movie though, but it's well worth the watch.
Has anybody heard of Metamorphosis?
I started that. I didn't finish it.
Okay.
I need to.
It is a what is that? I think is it Korean?
I believe so.
I think it is. I've heard good things about it, but I've not seen it yet. But any movies you saw this year, or any movies from 2020 that you really enjoyed, Eric?
Oh, well, it's funny. You guys are really aficionados on movies, and I'm kind of a fish out of water. But what I usually do is look back at movies that I go back a ways, sometimes really far back. That I don't know if any of them would interest, and I'd be hard pressed to even remember all the little titles that I saw. That a lot of movies that I would revisit that I had seen years ago, or oh god, there was an actor named Tyrone Power. He starred in a movie that I saw just a couple weeks back that was very good. But these are ones that I guess you would have to have an appetite for. They're not in that particular movie, which I forgot the title for. It'll come back in my head in a second, but that one was kind of set in a period of the 1800s. But I'm not really good in the genre you guys like a lot, other than I know that there's a lot to take in. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of gore and death, cool stuff. But the movies I like, I don't know if it would necessarily interest many people. I guess I look for things that quite the opposite of SNDN, but more character-based, dialogue-driven stuff. Even about like Edward G. Robinson, or going back to another era, 40s and 50s and 60s, and so I'd be hard pressed to dig up all these little titles, but I'm boring you.
No, that's cool. No, it's fine.
No, I'll have something more to say on it. There's stuff that I can just throw out there, but all in all, I just I guess in my life, I not long ago, but I was living with a lady that had a great catalog of movies from the 1920s on. I mean, I guess by just sheer osmosis, I would watch these movies because I was in proximity. So I would watch these actors, like I said, Edward G. Robinson or Burt Lancaster, or Kirk Douglas, or Ralph Richardson, or and just like, holy shit, this guy's great. So you start kind of following down the chain of what this guy did in his career, and so the stuff I look at isn't necessarily in your genre.
We do have somebody in the green room here who has called into the show, of a familiar face, if you will. Steak Sauce, how's it going? Well,
He disappeared.
Oh no!
That was it.
Come back, Saucy.
Come back, Shane. Come back.
well, the link to join, if you want to call into the show, so to speak, is in the chat. I think Steak Sauce might be connecting again. Let's see. There he is. Steak Sauce, how's it going?
Hey guys, what's going on?
How are you doing, man?
Just terrific. Just finished up at work here. The fabulous Satin Dolls. Live in New Jersey.
Satin Doll. Okay, dropping a plug for Satin Dolls in New Jersey. Talk to your boss. See if he'll sponsor the show.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, he
we'll
doesn't
throw
like
some
give away money.
Okay. We'll throw some plugs out there for Satin Dolls.
Good.
So what's your plans for Thanksgiving?
A little venture on my plans for Christmas or Thanksgiving? Thanksgiving. Well, I was going to go to Buffalo, but the family's a little nervous about this Corona thing.
Everything's fine.
We called it
Everything's
off
fine
for a
here.
couple more weeks to kind of get everyone. Yeah, Biden won, so it's going away. Anyway, so we're going to push it back a couple weeks. Early December, I'll go up and have some turducken.
Turducken, nice.
Which, if for the uninitiated, is a chicken inside a duck inside a turkey.
Oh, man.
Because there's no better meal than one that 3 animals had to die for.
Oh,
I've always wanted to try it. I've never had it.
Yeah,
it's good.
It's
I have
wonderful.
had it.
It's everything's just.
I want like a pig inside of a cow,
goodness.
inside of a larger cow.
Where's Gio?
Check this shit. Cash over. I'm going to watch Blood Rage on Thursday, though. I definitely will get that. That's become a tradition.
Gotta watch Blood Rage. I understand. I hear you.
With Joe Bob. So,
okay, very cool. Very cool.
I like that about Shudder, that they keep the commentaries up. Here's my boss, Lance.
Hey, what's up, man?
Hi, boss man.
That's me?
Yeah.
Right here?
That's you. No, here. Yeah, look at that. It's a tag team here. Oh,
This is so odd. He's acting like he likes you.
Well, that's just the cameras, man.
Keep our boys straight.
Once the camera goes
Too
off,
late.
it's back to beatings.
Meetings. He said if he doesn't hit him with the pisser, he'll hit him with the kisser.
Ah, very nice.
But on that note, I think I will hop off of here.
All right. Well, Steak Sauce, thanks for dropping
wish
in.
you all happy Thanksgiving.
Yeah, right on, man.
Take care, man.
Happy
You
Check
too.
out
Thanksgiving.
the newest episode of Waffle Grill. And soon there'll be another one. Maybe on Thanksgiving. Wouldn't that be fun?
There you go. Very
All
nice.
right, guys.
Tell your boss to get in touch with me about that sponsorship.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Iris loves you.
All right, very nice.
Kids is just trying to get free entry. That's all that's going on there.
Well, I do travel to New Jersey fairly frequently. Somebody in the chat actually challenged Eric to a push-up contest. How many push-ups can you do, Eric?
I don't know.
There's no limit.
There's no limit.
No, there's
He
probably
just answered how many you got.
How high can you count?
Push up.
No, I don't know. 10, 20, 30. But I would say that it's a very good exercise. It's excellent. It's a great old school way to build. Yeah. And it doesn't cost you anything. It's right there.
It's right there. Yeah.
Pilates rocks.
Resistance exercise. It's a form of bodybuilding, Pilates.
Yep.
So, Scott, I think that's a challenge you would not want to Yeah. We have somebody else in the green room here. Jeff, what's up, man? How are you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Good. I just had a question for Eric.
Sure.
Just about weightlifting and working out, because I just started and I'm trying to lose weight. So just some tips, I guess. Something like that. Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can. There's some
background.
Your TV or something.
Yeah. He's looking for some tips on how to he's trying to lose some weight.
Yeah, I remember he started working out, right, Piz? Last show I saw, yeah, good.
Yeah.
No, there's no secret to it. Make sure your expenditure exceeds your intake, meaning cut back on calories and train. But carb up before you train. If you're working out, your body needs glucose, and this idea of going in empty is really foolish. You have to have glucose in your bloodstream, glucose in your liver, and train. And with so make sure you carb up before you train, and then make sure that your expenditure exceeds your intake, meaning you're burning more than you're consuming in calories. And then, there's an old saying, and I don't want to get off on this because this is your show, Piz, and it's entirely about movies. But if you could do vegetables, protein, and water, you'll lose as much weight as you want. Is it boring? Is it hard? Yeah, it's boring and hard. But you just have to. I used to tell my clients in the gym, I would look out the windows, and there's always windows in gyms. You can look out on the street, and I point out through the window and said, how you comport yourself out there will determine how good you look in here. And that's really the name of the game. It's not so much how hard you work out. It's really what you do on the street, what you do outside of the gym that matters. And it's it's discipline on a day-to-day basis, I guess, is the only tip I can give. That's the best tip. So
what's a good means to carbo load pre-workout?
Well, everybody's got their thing, but well, for example, sweet potatoes, yams, regular potatoes. If you didn't have anything and there's an extract of corn called maltodextrin. It's like sugar. It's like white, like powder, and you put it in water, and it's literally tasteless. And it dissolves in the water. The water looks like water. It's tasteless and it's sugar. It's maltodextrin, but that is a way to carb up too. If you had nothing else, you can buy maltodextrin. They used to have it on all these different labels as bodybuilding supplements, but you can just buy it in a bag from eBay for $20 for like 10 pounds. But that's the cheapest way to go. I mean, if you're trying to save money, maltodextrin to carb up, but carbing up should just be, like brown rice, and people like white rice, bodybuilders do, because it has no hull on it. It's been all ripped apart and enriched and changed, but it's instant sugar. I don't like white rice, but it's things that convert to sugar quickly. I wouldn't necessarily, if you're a diabetic, it's a different story, but I don't have to bore you. But I would just say carb me up with whatever fuel, whatever ends up being good fuel for lifting weights, or resistance, or Pilates. Or Pilates is beautiful. It's full range of movement through resistance. It's much like bodybuilding. I would just say that people don't understand that you can reuse glucose. Glucose, after your cell uses it, a little bit of hydrogen, but then lactic acid. We feel this burn of lactic acid when we work out, but lactic acid is brought to the liver. It can be converted back to sugar if B vitamins are there. So I would say if you're carving up, take some B vitamins, because that way that sugar can be reused, turned back into glucose again from lactic acid back to the cell to be utilized for sugar again. So It's called the Cori cycle: sugar, lactic acid, sugar, lactic acid, sugar. And you can, it's maybe boring, but it's the science behind bodybuilding that bodybuilders are too stupid to know this. But if they knew it, they would know more about B vitamins and intake of B vitamins throughout the day in order to reutilize sugar. Very boring, but bodybuilding is really a science to me of biomechanics and what I eat, not how I work out. Working out should be very abrupt. Or I should say it'd be very intense, but very abrupt. It should be 5 or 6 sets on the muscle. Beat it to fucking hell, I'm sorry, and get off of it. Don't spend hours in the gym. Get on the muscle, warm it up, beat it to death, high intensity, high reps with as heavy weight as you can do it, and then get the hell out of there and back off. Don't train the muscle for a number of days. And I know it seems opposite what people know, but the reality is that's how you grow. You beat the muscle up, you give it time to rest, you come back and beat it up again. And carbing up. Carbing up will give you a pump. You'll feel good. You'll have enough energy to keep training that muscle group. So I'm not to bore you guys, but I'm just saying there's so much lack of knowledge in the field that you don't have to spend 2 hours in the gym. You can go in there and tackle 3 body parts in a half an hour, 40 minutes, and get out.
See, this is why I keep encouraging you, Eric, to do your own fitness videos on your channel.
Well, there's so many people that do it, and
but they don't do it. They don't do it like you do it. They don't have the passion that you do.
So the high intensity training basically puts less stress on your joints, right?
Yeah, you don't. I'm not a fan of heavy weight. Never have been. People say, "What do you bench? What do you bench?" I don't really bench. So, but your good question. I look, when I pick up weights and I'm warming up a warm-up set, I'll do 30 reps. I'll do 40 reps. I'll pick up 20 pounds in like a dumbbells. I'll pick up dumbbells and I'll curl them both together in unison. I'll get as many reps as I can my first set. I'll go to town. My thing is just to attack it, fatigue the muscle, maximum fatigue. And then I used to people think you got to get back on real quick, 30 seconds, get back on in a minute and hit it again. You're still tired from that. If you make every set an event, you should take more time off between sets, 3 minutes, maybe even 4 minutes. If I'm doing squats and it's a heavy set and I'm taking 4 minutes off, then I'm going to come back on again. And that's you have to let the muscles recharge and you get some strength back and then hit it again. But I like getting 30 reps, 20 reps, 15 reps. I don't like going below 12 reps. Never. Always high reps. Tom Platz, famous bodybuilder, was asked, what's better, high reps or heavy weight? And he said, ultimately, high reps with heavy weight. And that's the truth. You want to be, as you lift weights, you will get stronger. You will be able to do higher reps. Your endurance will pick up. But the idea is to fatigue the muscle, to bury it. All you're really doing with muscle is, if you can think of a muscle fiber that makes up a belly of muscle, that fiber is like a rubber band, and you want to, under resistance, you want to contract that rubber band, and then you want to stretch that rubber band. You want to contract it under load, which will then that rubber band, i.e., that muscle fiber, will be traumatized. It will be stressed, and its natural adaptive response is to make that muscle fiber larger, more resilient to the next load you put on it. Meaning, next time you train, it'll be ready for it because it'll be a bigger, stronger muscle fiber, and that makes up a bigger muscle belly. So all we're doing is creating damage to muscle. It recuperates in a thicker fashion, and then you can train. Bodybuilding is a funny thing. You usually have to go surpass your last workout. Every workout has to be better than the last, if you will. More intense, more heavy, whatever. But just think of it as getting in, doing 5 or 6 sets on a body part, lighten the weight and get higher reps and just grind it out where you can't do another rep anymore. And when you can't, do a negative. You're always stronger on the negative motion, like letting the weight back down toward you. You're always stronger on that. So negatives are important to me. These are little tricks, and I didn't ever think we'd get into this topic, but bodybuilding doesn't have to be that hard. It can be very easy. It doesn't have to consume your life. You can do quite a bit in a short amount of time. And I've learned this, and I used to do 40 sets on a body part and all this craziness and be back on in a minute, and it was irrational exuberance. It was youth, and it was crazy. But now I've looked at it as a science of getting in and getting out. I still have a passion for it, but anyone can do it. Anyone can change what they want to do. And you don't even have to bodybuild at all to lose weight. It's all about supplements and minerals. It's all about getting your cells to work right. The Krebs cycle, the energy cycle of your cell, you want that to always work well for you, and that requires a vast array of nutrients. And the holidays are coming on, and I say, if anyone says, "Oh, what do you say for the holidays?" I'd say, eat, enjoy yourself, have a piece of pie, undo your belt buckle, and have another piece of pie. But don't be scared of food. Food's good. I'd rather someone be a little overweight and be healthier. There's something that should be said. Athletes don't live a long life. Athletes have a very short life. Couch potatoes live longer because they don't sweat out their minerals. Sweat has got a lot of things that you release a lot of minerals out of the body in sweat, not just salt. And athletes, if you look at all these prime athletes, they don't live to 60 or 70 ever. They always die. So if you're going to go down that into the athletic realm, you have to pour in the good stuff. You have to eat right, and it's all a science outside of the gym. But yeah, I'm bored. I didn't mean that. Other than to say, I just want to say this and encapsulating and getting it done because I don't want to bore anyone. It doesn't have to. Bodybuilding or being taking care of yourself doesn't have to be all consuming. It can be very easy. Just if you want to get somewhere, a certain goal, it's just trim back, go to bed empty, or try to go to bed empty. I've said it before, but it's just cutting back on some calories so you're not sitting on calories while you sleep. That's kind of an important thing. Other than that, it doesn't have to be arduous 2 hours a day in the club or doing Pilates to the health. You can get in there, and training muscle on a frequent basis will get you where you want to go.
Jeff,
You still hear the
Jeff,
TV? I'm
did
sorry.
you take all that in? Do you feel educated?
Yes, I did.
Were you taking notes?
Definitely. Yeah, I was taking
Well,
notes.
Jeff, good luck with your.
I'll think about it.
Yeah, good luck with your
definitely.
weight loss
Thank
and
you.
stuff, man. And thanks for dropping by. Take care, buddy.
Oh, I killed you guys. I'm so sorry.
No, but see,
No.
this all
Oh man, that was great.
this all plays into something that we talked about, Eric. Next month is, of course, Christmas. A lot of people are going to be eating a lot. I'd like for you to come on the show and give us some ideas for how to maybe curb some of that. You get that holiday weight. You know what I mean? But are you going to do it as Eric, or are you going to do it as Ricky?
Oh, Ricky'd be funner.
I think Ricky's advice would be put down that effing drumstick. I'll kill you.
Honest. Yeah. No, no, I don't want to. I don't like boring people with this because it's just what I like. I was stupid earlier in my life. I trained way too hard and ate very little. I got sick. I have very similar issues that Jamie has, and I always try to overcome being ill early in life, and it's always been a battle for me. So I was stupid, and looking back, and it was just so irrational. I would say to anyone now, enjoy yourself and have fats are good for you. Things that you'll be eating in the next month or two are good for you. We got one life to live. We've had a shitty year, but it's what you want to do. Where are your goals? What do you like? What do you want to do? I just like going in there and beating myself up, even though I have aches and pains, and from bodybuilding where I was reckless, I still like doing it. It's a challenge, and it's one of the hardest things you can do in the regard of if you can tackle that field, you can tackle anything. So, but I do appreciate eating things that taste good and are fun, and burgers and fries and things, and all that. So no, I would say enjoy yourself and have fun. I don't know if I wouldn't want to bore anybody with dietary this or that, but I do know that the game of it all is minerals and colloidal plant-based minerals and chelated minerals and things we can't get in our soil. If I would try to convey anything, and perhaps I should have my own thing I should talk about, is because people don't talk about the fact our soil is so depleted. It's 85% minerally deficient. Our soil is so played out, folks, that we get sicker and sicker, and we can gain weight real easily. We don't have the nutrients in our bodies, the minerals specifically. Minerals are electrical spark plugs. They're cellular spark plugs. They're energetic, and you just got to take the right things. And when bodybuilding is a great excuse to eat like a horse. You can just eat more, and it'll go to the right places. It'll help build muscle and things. So it's always fun to know, I can eat as much as anyone or more and stay on the leaner side, but I think it's what I take. I supplement. If you aren't supplementing your diet, in closing, if you aren't supplementing your diet, you should be, because we don't get the adequate amount of minerals, B vitamins, essential fatty acids, amino acids. We really don't. And I would say that I'm a clinical nutritionist is what I am. So I come at it at a scientific, smart side now, where before I was a bonehead. So I don't do what I did before, but my advice now is pretty solid. So, and I understand being ill and working out of it. And my thing is don't get ill. If you take the right things now, everyone here is young enough on the panel that you could do everything right so you don't get senile or have Alzheimer's or fall apart or autoimmune issues or whatever else as time goes on. Because this is the time. From 40 on, let's say, you got to get smart. That's
I'm young enough. I don't know about the rest of these people. I'm young enough.
I'm 47 and I'm proud. I'm proud.
I'm not so sure about proud.
You look just as good at 47. You look good at 47. You look good. You don't look old.
Glasses, woman. Glasses. Put them on.
I think my mom at my age looked way older than what I look right now. Thank you, Grandma.
We don't have anybody else in the green room, so I think we're good. I think we're good.
Oh, believe me, I could listen to Eric Freeman for another hour talk about weightlifting and bodybuilding. I mean, you're not boring at all. You're awesome. So let me just.
Oh no, you're very kind. Yeah, not at all. The problem is I think a lot of people don't know that information.
Yeah, no, there's a lot to be said there. I just the other day, I have a UPS guy. He retired, real handsome guy, and he looked like Richard Roundtree, Shaft or whatever. He just looks like that guy, and he's real tall and handsome. And he brought his friend by, bodybuilding friend, real tall, big guy, naturally just huge, and but he brought him by, and and my friend Craig, the UPS guy, is picking up a product. Intermax minerals. It's like actually everything. It's about 415 nutrients in an ounce. It's really it's a liquid. And Craig's picking this up, and I'm talking to him, and the bodybuilding friend, picks up this bottle, and he's looking at it, and he goes, well, there's fructose in here. I'm against sugar, and I said, I said, you're a bodybuilder and you're against sugar. And he says, yeah, I'm against sugar. I don't eat sugar. And I said, well, that's strange because bodybuilding requires glucose. why would you be against sugar? He goes, well, no, I'm against sugar. And I said, so I said, and then we got into this conversation. It kind of went south, but I said, you don't even understand anything about bodybuilding, do you? But anaerobic exercise, resistance training, call it Pilates, call it bodybuilding, call it lifting rocks up or jackhammering. I don't care what you're doing. It requires muscular effort, and resistance requires glucose. And if you aren't carbing up and hitting, you're a fool, and you'll be flat. You'll get tired very quickly. You'll just it just won't work. It requires sugar. So that idea, and it goes against, I guess, losing weight in a way, but no, because what lean muscle mass gives you, lean muscle mass in the body is not only 4.5 times heavier than fat per cubic inch. So women are always concerned that they're going to be bigger when they bodybuild. Oh, I'm going to get muscles. No, you're actually going to get smaller. Fat takes up a lot of volume. You're going to get smaller and more shapely. But where I was going with this is that muscle burns calories 24 hours a day. 24 hours a day. You can't do that with anaerobic running or cycling or jogging or bicycling or treadmilling. You can't. When you build muscle, it requires calories all day, every day, all the time. Muscles, they're just needing sugar, fuel, protein. So that's the beauty of that game, is you can stay lean on it, eat very well. You can satiate yourself, lose weight. And so it's a great thing. You feel better. You walk into a room better. You're better posture, better everything. But and you can lose weight on it because active muscle burns calories 24/7. That's my pitch on it. I guess I come from a different place. Bodybuilders, everyone knows that they're stupid. I used to be stupid, so I always worked on the other side of I need to learn so much on this because I just don't know. And so today, old Eric knows a hell of a lot more than he did at young Eric, but I can pass it along if someone ever wants to know. You can always contact me, and I'd be more than happy to give you any time you want. But it's just what I liked it early on, and I luckily I've held on to my enthusiasm for it. So that's all. I'm boring you other than to say you don't need to do any of this if your supplements are right and they're the correct ones and not just some garbage from GNC. You don't need to do any of this. You can lose weight and feel better and see the shape that you are underneath it. Not even entering a gym or not working out or anything, by increasing your cellular energy. Krebs cycle, it's called. Citric acid cycle, it's also called. But it's how well your cells work, how well they bring the nutrients in and the waste out. That requires a vast array of nutrients. So you don't need to exercise. And it seems odd. You can go walk with your husband, your wife, your girl, your guy. You can go enjoy life. You can go do whatever you want. Just
can you take out the garbage?
You can take out the garbage. I did that today. Today was garbage day, so I was picking that shit up and dumping it out. And, but yeah, not to bore you, and I know I am, and I apologize. This is not my show, and I didn't want to steal. But don't be scared of the holidays. Take care of yourself and eat. It's better to give yourself nutrients than not. And the stupid thing is to people that starve themselves. And I kind of did that through bodybuilding early on, tried to be in shape, perfect shape for so long. It was just self-defeating. I dug a 20-foot pit and jumped in. So I can say by my world how stupid I was, that the smarter way is to just to eat a vast array of foods that are good for you, and the ones that aren't. And there's a whole list of foods that you'll find out personally within yourselves individually that what foods work for you and what foods don't. It might not be, wheat might be bad, or legumes might be bad, or nightshades might be bad, or like potatoes, etc. But all in all, everybody knows at some age what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah, that's how I got better. Is I just listened to my body. My body started telling me. It was telling me long before, don't eat this crap, eat this. Don't eat this, eat this. But everyone was constantly arguing with me about my food intake. And so I was feeling pressured all the time to eat what people were telling me to eat rather than what my body was telling me to eat. So, you know, I was listening to too many people about, hey, let's go to McDonald's and let's go to, you know, Burger King. And I completely, once I stopped eating all that stuff, I stopped eating McDonald's and Burger King and all that for about 4 years. And it's what helped me. And the fact that my body, I listened to what it was saying, and it said, eat meat. It said, eat protein and eat vegetables, but no milk, no dairy, you know, no carbs. I very seldom will eat like potatoes or any carbs like that. No pasta anymore at all. I do every once. My sugar intake probably comes from like fruit and stuff like that, you know, or, you know, the vegetables I'm eating that has a little bit of sugar intake in it. But other than that, this is my only vice now. And that's the only thing that I've held on to, and I refuse to stop it. I told everybody I'm going to be buried with some Mountain Dew, and I will be. But yeah, it's right. It's the protein and the vegetables, and just knowing that if you listen to your body inside, it'll tell you what it wants. You just have to listen to it and stop listening to everybody else, because it'll tell you what it wants. 6 long years it took me to get better. So I'm speaking from a place of knowledge.
What a show. I mean, you got the regular show, and then you got some nutritional, you got nutritional education. I mean, come on. Only on Regionfree. Truly without borders. Wow.
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't end the show bad. I know I hate coming on your show, Biz, because I feel like I'm such a odd duck in the regard of I don't know anything you're talking about. It's like, oh, the lodge or whatever. I'm like, damn, I didn't see the lodge. And, but,
a lot of people didn't.
No, I'm just saying that I'm writing you on the side of email like, hey, Biz, I'm kind of scared, man. I don't know anything. And you're going, come on. And it's like, I'm more of a fan than anything. So I hope I didn't bring people down in this part of the show, but enjoy your holidays. If I don't see any of you, just have as much fun as you can with all this crap going on, and eat and be happy, and don't starve yourself.
No, but Eric, it's always a real treat when you do join us. It's always fun. So we appreciate it. We appreciate it, and the audience definitely appreciates it too. So
there's nothing but love in the chat.
Nothing but love in the
Absolutely.
chat.
Yep, they're all saying how much they love you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's very kind. But no, I don't like busting in on the show, but because I don't know anything. I barely know this film world. But thank you for having me on anyhow. And if you watch my movie, how dare you get away from it? What are you, a sadist? Don't watch it. So I'm sorry. So, I don't know what happened back then.
Nothing to be sorry about, Eric.
No, that director. I didn't have a director. Kept saying, Lee, can we talk? He's like, Eric, I'm too busy. I'm like, fuck. I don't know. Sorry, swore.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but I have been thinking about December and maybe seeing if you and Lee would like to do something in December So maybe you can come face to face with Lee and say, "Hey, you're the reason." You're
He's such a nice guy.
I know. I'm
I'm
joking.
No, he, really was his other guy, but it was me. You got to put the onus has got to be put on me. I actually knew better, but something happened. Some weirdness took over me.
You listen. It was it's inspiration.
Youthful
exuberance. Yeah.
Yes, but
thank God it did.
Happy warrior. He is a strange character, but it was fun to watch. If I wasn't me, I'd like it, but I'm gonna be hard on myself. But thanks for having me on, and sorry if I brought anybody into place, but I'm more interested in people's health now than anything. Everybody. So there's a lot to learn in that world, and then there's a lot you shouldn't listen to. Don't listen to people that don't know. I don't mean to say I'm smarter than them, but I've learned so much on that. It's my insatiable desire to learn on these things. So seek out good advice for your health for here on out. It sounds boring, but it is the most precious thing is your health and how I've had too many friends get Alzheimer's and sick and not know who they are the last 5 years of their life, and people dying around me. And I'm a little older but I watch people dying all the time. It's like, whoa, you're doing everything wrong. I can't tell a guy to stop smoking or tell a guy to stop smoking 30 years and he's still smoking. So, that's the bad thing. Don't smoke. So,
yeah.
Don't mean to be, someone's got to say, just be good to yourselves, because there's so much to take in life and enjoy and relationships, and you want to be around for it, and you want to have your brain work for you. And so, and then here I say all this, I'll probably end up walking the streets of Venice, screaming punish and garbage day, not knowing who I am. But
oh God.
But that's you don't want to do that. I heard that happened to like the original Superman, George Reeves or whatever, the original Superman, and Jack Lord from Hawaii Five-0. Both these two guys had lost their minds in their end of their life, and one guy thought he was Superman. Jack Lord didn't know who he was, and so it happens. But you got to feed your brain. Your brain needs help, and you need to. And cholesterol is good for you. Cholesterol is not bad for you. Meaning, eggs are really good for you. Don't sunny side up. Don't fuse the yolks. Eat the yolks. The yolks are very good for you. You get cholesterol, and that's the genesis of all hormones. Cholesterol is your hormonal chain. Cholesterol turns into pregnenolone, and pregnenolone is all the steroid hormones underneath that. So what I'm saying is, don't be scared of cholesterol. Butter, cheese, eggs, these are good things. Don't let any doctor, anyone tell you this it's bad for you. Cholesterol has been bashed for so long, and it's never been implicated in heart disease yet. But I eat 6 eggs a day, every morning. I eat 6 eggs. Sunny side up, I don't fuse the yolks. That yolk is everything. It's cholesterol, it's lecithin, it's B vitamins, it's amino acids. It is everything. It's a steroid chain, man. If you like testosterone or estrogen or estradiol or esterone, you like androstenedione, you like DHEA, you better like cholesterol. So I'm just saying, don't let it scare you. The good fats, omega-3 fish oils. Bad fats would be vegetable oil. Olive oil is bad for you. These things you think are good, they aren't. If man touched it, don't eat it. I don't mean to be boring, but it's very important to know that if a man has low testosterone or as he's aging, well, why don't you eat 6 eggs a day, every day, and then check your testosterone in 90 days. You'd be surprised what you find. You feel better, you work better, and I'm boring it again. But don't let people tell you if someone barely knows a little bit more than you, don't listen to them. Try to seek out knowledgeable people that have been around the track.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean me. I mean just saying I go to people and they're smarter than I am. But yeah, I know we're ending the show, but sorry. Take care of yourselves and eat the right foods and enjoy yourself for the holidays. Don't let don't be guilty. All right. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to buy a freaking pie. And I'm going to eat it for Thanksgiving, and I'm going to eat the whole freaking pumpkin pie. So I used to know guy bodybuilders that would come in and they would eat a huge apple pie. They'd be bodybuilders on steroids, but they'd eat a huge apple pie and then work out. So sugar. So not to scare you. That might be excessive but these guys are after, when you got 23-inch arms, these guys, I don't think a pie is going to hurt them. So, but no. I didn't mean to do that to you, Pez. No. Thank you. People are just scared of things. Their doctors have scared you too freaking long. I listened to my doctor years back. I didn't eat salt. I didn't eat fat. I didn't eat this. I didn't eat that. And I drove myself into the fucking ground. So I'm telling you, their doctors are idiots. And I don't mean the doctors. They're just trained. They're symptomatic therapists. You go to a doctor because they will cover up your symptoms with a certain drug, but they will never get you well. But they are trained very well in what drug covers up what symptom. They're absolutely great memories and doctors. They're very smart, but they're trained to cover up your problem. And that's where I break from a doctor is when someone's talking to me, I look at getting them well. I don't look at covering up the problems. It's like a doctor is like a cat in a cat box. He just covers up turds. So, am I wrong? I'm not wrong. That was great. They're just very smart men or women, but they are trained wrongly. They're not trained on nutrition and what the body needs. They're trained on covering up your problems. So don't rely on your doctor for any advice on how to take care of yourself. Use them for your advantage. CBC, chemistry, get the blood test, whatever, and then get the tests, get copies, and run like hell and decipher them yourself. Because there's a vast reference range. Testosterone from 270 to 1270 is a reference range of testosterone. If you fall within that reference range, you could be 285 out of 270 being the low, 285, and your doctor will say you're fine, but you feel like shit. Well, if your testosterone was, say, at 870, you feel great. You'd feel like, God, I've never felt this good in my life. So I'm just saying, do yourself a great service as time goes on in your life and learn your body, learn what it takes to be well. And you'll avoid the doctor, you'll avoid sickness, you'll avoid hospitals, you'll avoid huge bills. So that's my last words, other than being a complete jerk and taking your show away, Piz.
No, Eric. Listen, this was great information that you shared. The audience is loving it. You've shared some great information and advice tonight, and we appreciate it. So I'm thankful for you, Eric.
Well, thank you. I got a guitar body came in tonight. I wanted to unbox it, so I'll save it. Well, next time we get together, we're gonna move on to a different topic.
Okay, nice. That's great.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's gonna be a cherry sunburst flame top Strat body. The primo. It just got it. So yeah, maybe I'll make the guitar and show it to you when I'm ready.
Cool.
Thanks for everybody for putting up with me. But I just wanted to do this only to say one thing, that I always want to advocate in my corner about things that matter, and things that matter are your health and your happiness. So, these are things that to me matter to me, and I know they will matter more to people as time goes on. But just look at taking care of yourself, as boring as that sounds, because You just want to be around in the best. You want, if you can try to make yourself feel like you were 20 when you're 60 and 70, then try to do that. And there's transdermal hormones you can get, and things for women, things for guys. There's all sorts of stuff you can do to get back to feel good. I'll just want to say one thing. When I was my sickest, and I went to my doctor, and he said, well, your testosterone, it was below 270. That's why I brought testosterone up. I was like 255 or something. I was really sick, not well. I had kidney disease and thyroid troubles and adrenal, and I was not well. And I was like 1992, and I said, how can this be? But I just would say this. He gave me a shot of testosterone, and he said, I'm going to give you another shot. He wanted to kind of bump my system up to kind of reboot it. And the point is, that one shot of testosterone and anthe, and I hadn't worked out in days, but I went into the gym. I was never stronger, never feeling better in my life. I felt like fucking Superman. I was pushing weight around that I would never have been able to fathom in my life. And the point is that if you can't raise your testosterone on your own, the testosterone, transdermal testosterone for women, it'd be estrogen and progesterone and a little bit of testosterone, things you can do, put topically on your skin that you'll feel like you're 20. You feel like maybe you've never felt in your life. So I had experienced that one shot, and then I begged him for the second shot. He gave me the second shot, and I begged him for a third shot. He didn't do it, but I had my little foray into what steroids are like. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. I was stronger than I just couldn't believe how strong I was. I was pushing, like I felt like nobody could stop me. I felt great. Everything, plumbing worked like you wouldn't believe. Stronger than shit. So I'm just saying that there's a lot to be said for nutrition and hormones and things to make us feel if we can try to replicate of a 20-year-old hormonal cascade when we're 50 and 60 is probably really good advice. Suzanne Summers writes a lot about that. So not to bore you. Sorry.
No problem. Let me give some shout outs here to everybody who is still here tonight. Scott Cinerosa, there's Christian in the chat, Robert Long, Dave Vanderhoff, my buddy Jan Man, Jeff Overing, Joe Reese, Jess Graham, the Daily Ghost. Shout out to my buddy Nico for the super chat. Thank you there, sir. And thank you to all you guys who are still here with me. Raiho, Jamie, Stone.
I chased him off, man. I chased him off.
And thank you, Eric. We appreciate it, man.
I won't do that again, Pitt. Sorry, man. Sorry.
And to everybody out there, have a great Thanksgiving. We will see you again in December. So have a great Thanksgiving if you live in the U.S., of course. But we'll see you. We'll see you again real soon. Take care and peace.